Oh no, we good. No, we good, my brother.
Hey, we live, guys. We live, guys. Let's give him a few minutes. Can we give him a few minutes, Mr. Campbell, before we get started?
Hey man.
Give him about
Well,
30
my
seconds.
mama always start on time. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, Coach. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Coach, thanks for the statistics. Hey, Coach, I had to come to the radio station today, man. We got a new studio being put in, man. So I had to be in here at the radio station today. Oh, wow. While they put me in this new studio, man. And it's looking good, man. It's looking real good.
Man, looking sharp, too, man. Yeah.
They doing it at the house.
Hey, Coach, we got more going out than we got coming in. So we got to get that fixed here soon. One more time, and then we're going to get it started. But no, it's going good. We're going good. We got right now. I'm in the podcast studio, a spot that we lease out so that people can do podcasts. Man, I usually broadcast from my in-home studio with the background and everything. But today you're gonna have to get what you get today. All right, guys. Yep. I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coach's Corner. I am Rocky, one of the co-hosts, along with my good man from Florida A&M University. A lot of turmoil going on over there. We didn't get a chance to address it last night, but we will
get it tonight.
We will at some point.
All right.
But no further ado, for the man you came to see, the one and only Johnny Cole.
Well, I don't know where that guy is, the one and only, but I'm here. Coach, ready to rock and roll. You know, we had a great show yesterday, man, and man, I just can't. You know, I'm feeling it, man. That we're growing, Coach, and we're moving in the right direction. And this next fella that we want to bring on, I'll say his name, Shawn Gibbs. Remember that name, Shawn Gibbs. First, I'm gonna apologize because at the time when things was working, I knew of Shawn Gibbs, but I didn't know Shawn Gibbs. And this guy comes from a heck of a tree. You're talking about a heck of an HBCU tree. You're talking about Broadway. You're talking about Coach Hayes from North Carolina T and Winston-Salem. He's worked alongside Trey Oliver. I mean, he come with a wealth of experience, and he's an HBCU guy. He's a North Carolina Central graduate. His father went to school there, and I wonder why. I was like, who is this Gibbs guy at Fort Valley? He don't jumped in there and win it off the top. But once I've done our homework and looked back, Coach Campbell, Coach Cozy is on the clock. I don't know.
Well, listen, Coach Gibbs got his own clock and Coach Cozy got his own clock. So long as they ain't sharing the watch, we okay.
I got you. With no further ado, can we bring on Shawn Gibbs, Fort Valley Wildcats? Hey, Coach.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Uh-oh. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. I know you were in the middle of summer practice and getting things going in the right direction. Where you think you are at? I know you got, another 2 weeks to practice? Where you at on the scale 1 to 10? You being the head man of where you want to be at this point in summer camp?
Well, I would say we're probably about at a 5 right now. I like where our team is. You know, mentally, the guys have been focused. They've shown a ton of commitment. We had a lot of guys here this summer, which, you know, at the Division II level takes a commitment. So that shows that these guys are dedicated to the process. I like where we're at. I like the mentality of the team, but of course we got a lot of work to do. But the guys are working hard each and every day. You know, we'll be back at it tomorrow at 6 a.m. And we'll see how this thing goes. You know, it's all about peaking at the right time. So we'll be ready by the time the 31st gets here.
Right. Well, Coach, like I opened up the show, man, you know, we want to jump right into it. You know, I know you love where you are and those things. And you know, how did you end up getting at Fort Valley? Where did you come from to get at Fort Valley?
Well, I was at I'll take you all the way back. I started off in 2002 coaching under Coach Bill Hayes at North Carolina A&T. And unfortunately, that was Coach Hayes' last year coaching. So after 2002, I went back to my alma mater, North Carolina Central, with Coach Broadway. And from there, I stayed with Coach Broadway pretty much his whole career. So we were at North Carolina Central from 2003 to 2006. And then in 2007, we went to Grambling. So I was down there for 4 years. And then after that, of course, we came to North Carolina A&T in 2011. And I was there from 2011 to 2021. The last couple of years, it was under Coach Sam Washington, who I also have to give a lot of credit. Coach Washington did a great job mentoring me. He was a coach on the staff when I played at North Carolina Central. So we go back a long way.
Now, Coach, you was on the 3 national championship teams. Am I correct? Y'all won one at Central, won one at Grambling, and also won at A&T.
Yeah, we won one at Central, one at Grambling, and 4 at A&T. Three consecutive.
Wow.
17, 18, 19, we won Black College National Championships.
Talk that noise, Coach. Talk that noise. Hey, Coach, I got. Can I go ahead and go into it, Coach? Because I got this. I've been chomping at the bit to ask this question right here. Right, okay. I've been chomping at the bit.
Let's do
Coach,
it.
the first time I heard your name, Coach, was shortly after Willie Simmons had resigned and took a job in North Carolina with Duke. Now, your name was mentioned as the leading candidate for the FAMU job. To be perfectly honest with you, Coach, by the time I got the word, it was said to be a done deal that you would be the next head coach of FAMU. Turns out that didn't happen. However, moving forward, your university stepped up, and as far as I know, they retained your services and you didn't look back. But can you tell us, because a lot of this stuff was in the grapevine and not in really, nothing was ever confirmed. And on this show, we're about facts, not rumors and innuendo. Can you tell us about that process, about what was actually a fact and then what was just part of the rumor mill?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the fact, I interviewed with the AD, with the chair of the board, and with the president at the time. And after the interview process, they felt like that I was a strong candidate. So I'm not going to say that the job was offered to me, but there were definitely talks of that. And we all know what happened. It's funny. I remember like it was yesterday. I was laying in the bed and I got a text at like 12:10. I'm usually asleep at that time, but for some reason I woke up and I checked my phone and it was Coach Simmons, and it was just the eyes emoji. And I was like, I wonder what that's about. I ain't think nothing about it. I went back to sleep. Then I wake up, I get ready to go to work, and one of my guys from A&T had texted me, and he said, "Man, so you weren't gonna tell me?" And I hit him up. I said, "I wasn't gonna tell you what?" He said that you're going to FAM. And I said, "Where'd you get that from?" He sent me the link, and then the rest is history. It just blew up on the internet. But I was never really officially offered the job. There were definitely talks of it, but there was no contract sent or anything like that. But I'm thankful for that process, because it allowed me to grow as a person and as a coach. That was the first time in my career. A lot of times we talk to our kids all the time about not paying attention to social media, and that stuff ain't real. I know personally, I've talked to my guys about that before, and that's real until you're in it. And during that time, there was a lot of people saying a lot of negative things about me, I was really in a bad place because I was like, what did I do? I'm just coaching football.
Right.
But it helped me learn that that stuff really doesn't matter.
Right.
I had a lot of people that were also supporting me, and what matters is God and your family, and they were in my corner. And the people at Fort Valley stepped up and let me know that they wanted me to be here, and I'm happy that things worked out the way they did because I want to be a Wildcat for a long time.
Well, Coach, I'm gonna apologize because I heard of Shawn Gibbs and I had to talk with Trey Oliver and do some digging myself to really find out who you were, because a lot of times, when you with somebody for all those years you was with Broadway and just sitting as a position coach, sometimes you get overlooked, but you learn a lot. And I've heard, nothing but great things about you. And I've interviewed for jobs too. And if you have, everybody is going to shoot at the horse that they think is in front, And so once your name came out, it was like, and I'm like myself, I'll be honest. Well, he said Fort Valley, how can he just jump from a Division II to a bluegrass program like Florida A&M? And I apologize. I should have done some more homework, but I'm not saying Cozy wasn't a great choice either. Hey, why fix something that don't need to be fixed?
Right.
They just coming off a national championship as well. But definitely, Coach, I would have been in favor of you because I'm an HBCU guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's already so hard for us. How do you feel about these guys jumping the line in front of us? Whether they are NFL player or whether they've coached at PWIs, how do you feel where you are about those situations?
Well, I think I usually try to take it on a case-by-case basis because some guys, I think Coach Prime hire, for example, that was good for the university. He did a lot of great things at Jackson State. Unfortunately, he ran into my alma mater in the Celebration Bowl. And, it is what it is there. But he did a great job. But that doesn't mean that everybody that played in the NFL is going to be able to do what Deion was able to do at Jackson. And it's a lot of guys that have been out here grinding for a lot of years that are more than capable of leading programs. And I just hope that we give more of us an opportunity, especially those guys that are HBCU graduates or at least HBCU affiliated. Because we all have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, Coach, why do you think, in your own opinion, that they kind of feel that we can't get it done? Like we hadn't been through the grind. We've been through the grind both socially, mentally. Why you think that they have in their mind that black college coaches can't coach?
I think it's just a narrative out there that people really just don't understand, because I think it's a lot of guys in this profession, such as myself, Coach Oliver, Courtney Cord. That's another Eagle that I know. But I know a whole lot of guys in the profession. TC Taylor, who I know is coming on later, that are black college guys and have made the decision to stay in black college. All of us could have easily really tried to go chase and join the PWIs, but we have a passion because we come from this place and we want to see our schools thrive and be successful. And but a lot of times we get overlooked because they think we have to be here rather than we choose to be here. Because a lot of people can be in other places, but they choose to be somewhere where they can make a difference and leave a legacy. And that's what I want to do here at Fort Valley State. I know I had to talk to a lot of our alums about the whole FAM situation. I had to tell them, first and foremost, FAM is one of the blue blood programs. So who wouldn't listen if you had an opportunity to talk to them? But for me, I want to be a coach. Like, I look up to coaches like Coach Lomax that was here, Coach Doug Porter that was here, the great Eddie Robinson, Coach Hayes, guys that had a legacy, guys that went somewhere and built something. It's not all about jumping somewhere and it's not about me. I want to establish a legacy somewhere and be known as one of the best black college coaches to ever do it. That's what I want to do. And I think that can be done right here at Fort Valley. But I'm happy for the opportunity.
Yeah.
But let me say this. One thing that I really didn't like about the narrative was as if there was some beef. I took my staff down to FAM the spring before they won the Celebration Bowl. Coach Simmons and I and a lot of guys on that staff, we had a great relationship. I think FAM has a great coach in Coach Cozy. I think people need to know that we're all in this together. We're all pulling for each other, you know, so it's no hostility amongst any of us, you know.
Right.
Well, Coach, I think that particular situation was just unfortunate on a lot of different levels, Coach. I think the FAM wanted the successor of Coach Simmons to be from the program that won the national championship, and I think that was a fair, expectation.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, I don't want to explain the sentiments of the Rattlers because I don't think I'm qualified. But we do have a man on the panel that can truly express what the true sentiments of the Rattlers were during that time. Because I personally don't believe it was anything personal with you, Coach Gibbs. But our co-host, Mr. Campbell, he certainly can express the true sentiments of the Rattlers.
Coach, how are you doing? Let me tell you something, Coach. I'm one of those people. I'm of an age. I don't like wasting people's time. I think you really answered this, but I'm going to just say this. I think when anything, like you said, Coach, you interviewed, which made sense. It's Florida A&M. If it would have been A&T, you would have interviewed. If it would have been Central, Grambling, or Southern. So I think especially the talented coach that you are, I think if anybody would have said, look at your resume, they would have said, hey, you know what? We want to look at it. Well, I think, and I want to apologize because I think what happened, and as you notice, listen, you come from North Carolina Central. You know how passionate that fan base is.
Right.
You love your school.
Right.
People from FAMU love their school. And it had nothing to do with anybody. It literally could have been Nick Saban. There was a tradition that had been established with Coach Simmons. There were people that were on their staff that had created this environment. And Coach, this is the thing and I'll just be honest with you, and this had nothing to do with you. My biggest concern, because again, Coach Taylor's coming on, and who did a wonderful job with Jackson. I knew the situation that you were going to be put behind the 8 ball. And I didn't think, honestly, that would have been fair to you. I didn't think that you would have gotten the proper shot that you would have needed to be successful. There would have been a lot of people possibly transferred. And I know you have a great way of recruiting players and things like that. Well, I think, honestly, as a fan, I think God works things in mysterious ways. As you know, and there's no secret, we have a transition with a new AD that has now moved on. You're about to build a powerhouse program at Fort Valley State. And guess what? The right opportunity is going to be your opportunity. And that's what I truly believe. So I don't think anybody really had any, and because people, let's be honest with you, you don't talk about the man if you don't know the man. Nobody knew you personally, Coach. And everybody said anything personal about you, that was disrespectful. They didn't know you. What they know, they saw your record, and they knew you coached at Fort Valley. That's what 99% of people that from FAMU knew. But for what you're building down at Fort Valley, I think that is what, and like I say, it's all about opportunity. I think you're building an incredible opportunity because the thing what I always said, to be honest with you, and I will say this in public, what I didn't understand, because FAMU you had 2 places. Well, I know you coached at Grambling, but both Grambling and Southern had openers. Now, to me, with what you knew, I didn't know why they didn't come running and give you a stack of money, because you knew Grambling. You had won championships at Grambling.
Texas Southern was open too.
So my thing is that there would have been less interference. You see what I'm saying? For a person of your talent, that you would have been able to come in with open arms. Southern University would have been wide open. You would have been able to build that program. And I'm not trying to put you in a bad place. I'm not saying that you out here fishing for jobs, like you said. But I wanted to just give you background what Rocky's trying to put out there. And I just wanted to have that to let you know. So, Coach, I will ask you this. With that being said, and now you can Monday morning quarterback. How do you feel about the situation now that you've seen it basically transpire since December? How do you feel where you're at?
Well, it's like you said. I believe the same thing. God has a plan for everything, and what God wants to happen is going to happen. What's meant to be is meant to be. I think that Fam got the right guy with Coach Cozy. Coach Cozy is a heck of a coach. He's got a good staff. He's got a lot of good guys on the staff that I know, so I know they'll be fine. And I'm at a place that I love, and the people here are supporting me. I got a good football team, got great assistant coaches, and everything's working out the way it's supposed to work out. I'm happy. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that things worked out the way that they did, but I'm also happy for the opportunity just to be mentioned as a candidate for the FAM job, because like I said, I'm Black college through and through. I'm a third generation Black college graduate. My great grandfather was at North Carolina Central in 1911. It was founded in 1910.
And I saw that.
So, I'm Black college through and through. So just to be mentioned at a blue blood program like that, and now to have the opportunity to coach at a blue blood program in the SIAC at Fort Valley State, I'm blessed. That's all I can say. I'm blessed. So,
well, Coach, I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to let them turn it back over. Well, one thing about it, when people want you, it allows you to have options and have leverage. So you use that leverage a little bit, Coach. I know, to get a little bit extra down there at Fort Valley. So that's awesome, and I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, well, let's go. Let's talk about Fort Valley, Coach. That's and you're right. Fort Valley is a blue blood program in the SIAC. It ain't like it's slouches come up out of there. They've sent a lot of guys as pros. Let's talk about the two coaches. I think one of the old winning coaches kind of passed away. Did you get an opportunity to meet him?
Absolutely. And I met Coach Porter when I was coaching at Grambling. For people that really know Coach Broadway's kind of a guy. He don't allow a lot of people in his program. And when Coach Porter just recently passed, and I got an opportunity to speak at his memorial, and one of the things that I said was, I just wish at the time that I was down there that I would have really understood who he was. He's on the sideline most days throughout the week. He's traveling with us. And I'm just looking like, okay, who is this guy? Oh, that's Coach Porter. He used to be one of Eddie Robinson's assistants. I didn't know until I left that he was a head coach at Fort Valley State, Mississippi Valley, and Howard. And he'd done all the great things, and he was the oldest living member of the College Football Hall of Fame. So I understand here that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and I'm blessed that I did get that opportunity to at least get to know Coach Porter when I was coaching down at Grambling. I just wish I would have took more advantage of it.
Coach, that's why this program is so important, man. You told me some information I didn't know, that Coach Porter was the oldest living Hall of Famer, man. And that's the kind of, and we don't cherish that, Rocky, and we got to start cherishing that. All right, Coach, I know you got some fans on here. Hey, when you got a good quarterback, who's going to be leading your team?
Kelvin Durham. This will be his third year as a starter. KD, out of Miami. He was his first year, he was freshman of the year and newcomer of the year. And then last year, he was preseason offensive player of the year. And things didn't work out like he wanted it to, and he didn't get any postseason accolades last year. That's okay. And also going into this season, he wasn't named to any preseason list. I kind of like that, though, because that's going to light a fire under KD. But, he has the opportunity to be an all-time leading passer. And if he has another good season here at Fort Valley State, that's a big deal. And, the quarterback is the most important position in the game of football on any level. So to have somebody with that type of experience, 3 years starting, is invaluable. And, I just look forward to seeing what he can do this year.
Yeah. Coach, I want to ask you some on a coaching level. And since you've coached way back, I was coaching, and the game has kind of changed. Quarterbacks have left the center, and now everything is shotgun. How did you make your transition? Of course, I played against you guys when you was at Grambling. And how did you make your transition from how we used to do it to now in the spread per se?
Well, we try to be a little bit more multiple. I've started doing a lot more stuff from underneath center with our guys, just because I had an opportunity. I had two great opportunities this past year. I was able to coach in the Senior Bowl, and then I got selected to go to the Ozzie Newsome General Manager Forum and Quarterback Summit. And at the Quarterback Summit, one thing that they kept saying over and over is that the biggest transition for quarterbacks from college to the pros is guys don't know how to simply take a snap from underneath center or call a play in the huddle. So, I think it's our obligation to try to help these guys. And Coach Coles, like I do, there's a lot of good stuff that you can do from underneath center. That doesn't mean that we need to get rid of the spread and the gun, because you got the RPOs and all that stuff is good stuff. But, I believe in smash mouth football. So sometimes there's a time and a place where you need to get underneath the center, and everybody in the stadium knows what you're about to run, and it's the defensive job to stop it. But my transition has been, it's been a long time. It's been 15 years that we've been transitioning from the old school pro sets and now the spread stuff with all the RPO. So it's been slow, but it's been a smooth transition. I don't want to be a dinosaur. You got to adapt or you die. So you got to be modern, but at the same time, everything that's old school ain't bad.
Let me ask you this here, Coach. You sound like an old running back or offensive lineman, Coach. Which one are you?
Running back.
I knew it. See, Coach, the running backs know that the game is won by putting that stick in that ball in that running back's belly. You still won win football games like that. And I'm always happy to hear that kind of talk, because in my opinion, at the level of efficiency that teams pass the ball in college, they still should probably feature the running back rather than trying to toss that thing around the yard in some cases.
If you look at last year, and I tell my guys this, if you look at last year in FBS, Michigan won the national championship. What do they do? Run the football.
Run that ball.
South Dakota State won the FBS national championship. What do they do? Run the football.
Run the ball.
Harding won the Division II national championship. What do they? They're triple option. So you got to be able to run the football, especially in November and December when it's cold. You got to be able to run the rock. So that's how you.
Coach, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so this is what I want to ask you, Coach. You've been in coaching, sounds like about 30 years, Coach. Thereabout, at least 20. What is? But you know what I'm asking is, he's been in during the transition where the game was centered. The game plans were usually centered around the running back. What happened in that 20 years in coaching where the game went from being centered around the running back to being solely on the shoulders of the quarterback?
Well, I think a couple things happened. Back when we were coming up in high school, the best player on your team was going to play either quarterback or running back, because he was going to touch the ball all the time. If you go in these high schools, now, and you start recruiting, best athletes are playing receiver on offense and DB. So it's just switch, it's just evolved. So now they're trying to get the ball to the best players in space rather than handing it to them and with a heavy box. But I come from the old school. Coach Hayes used to tell us, man, run the ball. They ain't got but 10 in the box. Run the ball.
Hey, I want to piggyback off being, coordinating myself and coach, too. And what happened, as you know, Coach said, I'm running that football. So he still got an old school philosophy. He just backed the quarterback up. And I think that's what happened to these guys. When you don't have a system, and Coach knows what I mean by a system, because he won, 6 national championships, Coach?
Yes,
so
sir.
It's a systematic of what he had. Now, he might have moved his quarterback back, but his philosophy as a coordinator never changed. And that's what happened to some of these guys who don't have systems, and they see these ball and all this spread. Spread to me is just a package. I'm not going to live without the spread. Kind of go over that, Coach, Because I seen you ran the ball, Coach, way more times than you passed the ball last year, looking at your stats.
Right.
So you kind of said it earlier that's your – so who are those running backs, Coach, that you're going to get? You play with 1, 2 in the backfield, 3? Can you talk about your running back?
Yeah, I think we have one of the best running back rooms in Division II, honestly. Our starter is a kid named Brandon Marshall who transferred last year from Mercer, and he was first team all conference, preseason first team all conference. He's a little Mighty Mouse. Y'all remember the cartoon Mighty Mouse? He's only about 5'6", 185 pounds, but he can bench 400. Strong as an ox. And then we got a transfer in from Wingate that was made all sack before, Alexander Wilson, and he's the opposite. He's about 5'11", 220 pounds, built like a Greek god. And we got some young guys behind them. We got a running back, Tristan Morgan out of Mays High School in Atlanta, and Jamal Sanders out of Brooks County down in South Georgia. So we got a loaded backfield. Oh, and we signed a freshman now. I don't know if he's gonna hit the scene this year, but out of Coffee County, Fred Brown, 2,000-yard rusher, and I think they were the 6A state champions in the state of Georgia. So we loaded in the backfield.
Wow. We've had a whole lot of coaches, and they was talking about recruiting. And I keep telling my guys, it's players. You just gotta go get them. It's enough out there. Everybody ain't getting paid. Everybody ain't got the NIL or the collect. It's a whole bunch of good players. Well, Coach, you gotta have some folks up front to get it done. So, how many of those guys you returning? How many of them did you lose?
Well, offensively, we're only returning one starter from last year, and he was a freshman. But we brought in a guy, another transfer offensive lineman from Mercer, Jose Gonzalez. He's another transfer from Mercer. He's from Warner Robins, though, who we think is going to provide, he'll be able to step in. Now, we lost our first team all-conference lineman last year, Jamil Jackson. He transferred to Central Michigan. On the defensive side of the ball, we lost our best defensive player to Austin Peay. So, we lost some guys due to the transfer portal. But, that door it swings both ways. One goes out, one comes in.
Right.
So we're kind of young up front, but I like the way that Coach Ray has these guys gelling. And, if we can get a hat on a hat and give our back some daylight, give our quarterback some time to facilitate, get the ball to our guys in space, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Now, of course, you talked about the wideouts a little earlier about how special they are coming out of high school. How about your bunch of wide receivers?
Yeah, we got Zatarius Anderson played for us last year. He's a transfer from West Georgia, and he's back. He's a big receiver with good hands. DeJuan Bell's a transfer from Furman that we got last year. He's actually preseason All-American as a punt returner and kick returner. And we got another young guy that we recruited out of Madison High School down in Florida, Jamie Hampton. He was a quarterback in high school, state champion, and we brought him in and converted him to receiver. So this will be his second year playing receiver. And I think all those guys can make plays for us. And then we got some big old tight ends that can be a threat in the passing game and definitely can set the edge for us in the run game.
Now, Coach, do you get involved with calling the plays, or do you have an offense coordinator? And if so, say a little bit about your offense coordinator and your defense coordinator.
Okay. I got two young coordinators. Joel Hirsch is our offensive coordinator. Coach Hirsch was here under Coach Flowers. I retained Coach Hirsch and Coach Ray, our offensive line coach. So they were holdovers from Coach Flowers' staff. Coach Hirsch has done a good job coordinating our offense. I don't necessarily call any plays, but you know how it is. I'm going to give my suggestions. But I think he's done a good job, and The only thing I tell them is, just to keep the same philosophy that I have. And Coach Broadway used to always tell us, in crucial situations, think players, not plays. So let's think about how we can get the ball to our playmakers in space. Let's think about how we can get the proper matchups for our guys versus their guys offensively. And I think we've done a good job of that. We got to continue building and doing a better job. Now, my defensive coordinator, Coach Denzel Jones, I brought him from North Carolina A&T. He played for us at A&T. He was on the first Celebration Bowl team in 2015, and after he graduated, he started coaching for us. And this guy's a bright young coach. He's really bright. He's like Coach Cord at North Carolina Central, Coach Jones. With us, they all come from Coach Wash's coaching tree. So I feel real good about my young coordinators.
Yeah. Tell old Coach Frenchie. Old Coach said hello.
I will. The old ball coach.
Yeah, old ball coach. He probably don't coach 30 schools, Coach. Frenchie gonna be so real good dude, good guy, man. Just tell him,
he coached me.
Hello,
He coached me at North Carolina Central.
Yeah, I'm turning it over, guys.
Coach, let me ask you a question. One of the things, and they kind of stole my thunder because I was going to talk about your all-conference running back. But every place that you went and you've been around, you've always had a dominant rushing attack. With that being said, is that just because you were running back? And again, I know you talked about how important it is, but is that just in your DNA that that's what we're always going to do? Is just have that running attack? Because you, everywhere you go, no matter who is the coordinator, no matter who's the head coach, if you're the running backs coach, you're going to lead that conference in rushing.
We're gonna find a running back. We're gonna find a running back. I honestly believe that you win the game up front on the offensive line. But if the offensive line can open up holes, but if you ain't got nobody that can see them and get through them and beat people one-on-one, because that's what a good running back does. I tell them all the time, if you have an 8-yard run and you get tackled by the free safety, that's a minus. You didn't do your job. The offensive line did their job. They got you to the free safety, and you got tackled one-on-one. Your job is to win those one-on-one matchups. So we've been fortunate enough and been blessed to always find a guy that can win those one-on-one matchups. And we got another one here. And the Coach, one before him that we had here is in the NFL with the Packers, Emmanuel Wilson.
Hold on, Rocky. Hold on before you do. I want to stick on this thing. Now, Coach, one of the things that I looked at, could you talk about, and two things I want you to answer. As you know, recruiting has changed because of the transfer portal and stuff like that. Could you talk about your philosophy of the transfer portal versus you recruiting high school students? Because now what I've seen is there's a lot of opportunity for now schools on your level to actually get some great high school players because now everybody's going in the portal. And also, can you talk about who you actually brought in from Fort Valley from the portal and who you recruited from the high school level?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. If we can have our choice, we want to recruit high schools. But a lot of times you need to hit the portal just to bring in some experience because you don't want to necessarily put that pressure on certain positions. Now, if we recruit a running back can come in and play as a freshman. A receiver, a lot of times, can come in and play as a freshman if you put him in the right position. But it's hard for a quarterback. It's hard for an offensive lineman to come in and play right away. So, we were able to get some guys out of the portal on the offensive line, like the kid Jose from Mercer. We got a JUCO transfer out of Georgia Military. But we're going to focus primarily on high schools. And this might be controversial because a lot of people disagree with it. But I personally think that Georgia is now the king of high school football. And the only reason I say that is because Florida's always had the talent. And Texas has always had the resources. Well, Georgia's in a position now where Georgia has the talent like Florida, but they have the infrastructure like Texas. So the high school football in Georgia is just phenomenal. And it's everywhere. It's not just in Atlanta. It's in Middle Georgia where we're at, Warner Robins and Macon. And it's always been in South Georgia, down in Valdosta. So we got a state that we can recruit. And the good thing about us, we got border waivers. So Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina are all considered in-state.
Wow. That is a big deal, especially when you're trying to divvy up those scholarships.
Right.
Coach, I tell you what now, we had a conversation with the coach from Lane about that. Tell people how important that is, because I understand what you said, but I want you as a coach to explain to the people, because we try to get people facts here, why that is so important when you're going out recruiting and that border waiver, and what does that mean for us, you offering aid in kind.
And how many scholarships you have, Coach?
We're not fully funded. and that's what we're working to do, Coach. We're working to get fully funded. We're not even close right now. But like I've expressed to our alums and our administration, and I believe this with the bottom of my heart, if we get the 36 scholarships, we will be somebody that will be in the national championship contention. Because we're working with roughly half of the 36, and we're able to be competitive. But that's where the border waivers are extremely important, because now we can go get a kid in South Carolina or Tennessee that might only have an offer from a private school in the state, and we can offer him, hey, look, it only costs $17,000 to go here. All right, we've already not had $17,000 in state. We're going to get you down from $30,000 out of state to 17 right now. Okay. And then when your pay kicks in, and if we can get you some academic money, you're not going to pay anything. And it's going to be cheaper for you to come to Fort Valley than go to a school in your own state. And that's what happens. And if we can't find players in those states, we ain't looking.
Good. Wow.
Coach, I got excited when you, and I almost cut my co-host off with Bishop Campbell when you start talking about running backs, because you mentioned something that I always say about running backs. Don't tell me how many yards you have. Can you find the hole, and can you break tackles? That's all that matters as a running back to me when I'm evaluating guys. Anybody can run through a wide open hole full speed, but can you find the hole, and can you make a man miss? And it's so refreshing to hear you see that, because I hear our guys talk about running backs, and they always want to talk about speed and kind of got catch and can he run routes and all that kind of stuff. But I like a guy you can stick it in his belly and he can find the hole. And
right. And that's why a lot of times I know that I get too much credit for these running backs, because you can either see it or you can't. I remember early in my career, I asked Coach Hayes, I said, Coach, what do you do if you're coaching somebody, he just can't see it? And he said, you find you another one. That's what you do, you find another one. And the good ones, it's just natural. Tariq Cohen, Greg Pruitt at North Carolina Central, Emmanuel Wilson, who's with the Packers now, those guys can just see it. My job is just to get them to the line of scrimmage, teach them their footwork, teach them where their reads should be, and then the rest is on them.
You had one in Grambling also.
Frank Warren, he's the head coach at Parker High School in Birmingham right now.
Oh, okay.
He's an all-time leading rusher at Grambling. Hopefully they'll get him in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it.
Yeah. I got to sneak this one in, Coach. We held him at 67, and one run was like about 26. Yeah,
Coach, y'all took a championship from us. I'm supposed to have another HBCU national championship.
Yeah, Coach, we got after that one a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a great game, Coach. It was a great game, and man. Now, was Coach Yoshida was the defense coordinator, wasn't he?
Yeah.
How's he doing? How's Coach
Yoshida doing? He passed this year. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he passed.
Now that was a mentor of mine. He's Coach the one taught me defense.
Coach Yoshida. And a lot of people don't know that Coach Hayes and Coach Yoshida were the first two minority coaches in the ACC. Coach Yoshida don't get any credit because he's Asian, but Coach Hayes and Coach Yoshida at Wake Forest were the first two minority coaches in the ACC.
Yes, sir. Coach Yoshida, we worked together at Southern, and our offices was right across from each other. And I just used to go over there and sit with him. He'd go over defense with me and mentor me, and and all that kind of stuff, man. Great guy. Great
coach. Great coach. Good guy.
Well, Coach, look, you on the map. You on the map. You've been on the HBCU football coaches corner. And definitely, Coach, we're going to bring you back, hopefully during the down in the middle of the season. And I know you got a lot of things to do. Rocky, you got some? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to – I thought it was interesting that your name came up when we were interviewing Trey Oliver. And he mentioned what a great coach you are. So obviously you guys have a relationship, and Coach Cole passed some information on to me about you guys' relationship. And I'd like you to go into whatever detail you want to about it related to Coach Oliver.
Yeah, man, Coach Oliver, that's my guy. We go way back. So Coach, this is how far back we go. Coach Oliver's father and my father played together at North Carolina Central.
Wow.
My father was in their wedding. Then Trey and I got a chance to play together, and I was in Trey's wedding. So, that's how far back we go. And Trey's been a tremendous influence on my life, and I'm extremely proud of what he's doing. And, we feel like we got four of our teammates at North Carolina Central are head coaches. Coach Odoms at Norfolk, Coach Adrian Jones at Shaw, and Coach Oliver and myself, we all played together. So, we've helped each other out throughout the years. I'm extremely proud of him. I love his interviews. That's who he is all the time. Talking junk, that's who he is. But, he's one of the brightest coaches in the country, period. And I hope that he gets his flowers. I hope somebody gives him opportunity because he deserves to be on a higher level. And I'll say that. That's how he's choosing to stay in the HBCU world, because that guy can flat out coach football. One of the sharpest minds in the game. Knows offense, defense, special teams, recruiting, whatever you need to know. That man got answers for you.
Wow. Yeah. Coach is a great guy, man. And anytime we call him, man, he ready to rock and roll. He full speed. Well, Coach Gibbs, Shawn Gibbs, have spoken, Coach. You have spoken. And I appreciate you, man, spending your time with us. Again, if you would like, we would like you to come back, maybe in the middle, maybe when you are competing for the championship. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I'll get to broadcast your games, and I'm very excited about doing that as well.
Well, I just want to say before I go that I appreciate you guys for having me on. I love what you guys are doing. We got to give our guys a spotlight and let people know all the talent that we have in our world, in the HBCU coaching world. And so thank you again, and God bless you guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Whew.
And that was Shawn Gibbs of Fort Valley State. Hold on, let me get I'm gonna get it right sooner or later. Yeah, that was Shawn Gibbs of Fort Valley State. Another great interview, Coach. These coaches, man, are very impressive. They're knocking them out the park, man, and I'm really impressed with Coach Gibbs. Overall, Mr. Campbell, because I think the people want to know, what was your impression of Coach Gibbs?
I mean, what I expected. All these coaches are high-level individuals. All these coaches are leaders, are men. And I think, and I'll say this again, I think it's always best to be where you're loved and where you're supposed to be. Coach Gibbs is supposed to be at Fort Valley. And what I expect when he comes back on here, when the season ends, his name is going to ring a lot of bells and the people are going to make a lot of phone calls. Because there are going to be some openings, as we all know. So we got people already on the hot seat. I think that he's going to be a tremendous coach for a lot of teams in the SWAC or possibly in the MEAC. So I think the sky's the limit for him. And I like the fact that he said, hey, this is what, but like I did tell you guys what happened. I told you there was no contract offered or none of that. I told you guys that. Rocky had to hear out his mouth, but don't believe everything you guys heard. I told you that.
The thing with me though is I don't think we was even sure that he had a interview. My memory of stating, Coach, is that she just picked him. It was a brother pick. It was what we call those picks.
Homeboy hookup.
The interview. Now we're being disingenuous because the interview. The question is, who else did she interview? She didn't interview anybody else.
Well, I'm
at
just
that
saying,
stage.
Well, he
I
has no
thought it was
control over
a
that.
hookup.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah, but I'm going with Coach is saying that it was just a hookup. But if you don't interview anybody else, you are hooking it up,
And-
right?
Hey, Coach, don't kill me. Don't kill the
No. I just like no.
I didn't even know he met with her. He said the president,
Yes.
the people.
the-
Yeah.
That ain't no
and
homeboy
he
interview.
He said the chairman of the board of trustees.
Yes, and that was all known. That's how it all got out. So just to kind of recap for you guys, because you guys weren't intimate, that's what happened. What happened was, and like I say, this has nothing to do with Coach Gibbs. I want to be clear. This has nothing to do with it. But I'm talking about the uproar. This is about the procedure. She went and she did one interview, was with him. She introduced him to the president and the board of trustees, and then she was ready to move forward to basically offer him the job, like he said. People caught wind of that and said, wait a minute, you're not even interviewing people that could be the candidate, like a Coach Cozy, a Coach Roll, a Coach Smitty Rock. You see what I'm saying? People that want to step, they at least should have had an opportunity to interview. That's what happened. And when the blowback got, Coach Gibbs was like, wait a minute, I don't blame him. I don't want to be in a spot with people that could be negativity. And I think Coach Gibbs is about positivity. So I think he said, you know what? I'll step back. And Fort Valley stepped up and said, we got a great coach. Let's pay him some more money.
And let me say this too. And Coach, you've been around HBCU, Coach Campbell, and of course, as I have. And Rocky, for you to make that statement about, and you're actually getting to meet these guys.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about. You know, people don't understand these guys. This is some intelligent, some bad brothers. You know what I mean? That just don't have that platform. You know what I'm saying? And the brothers that's up in these Division 1A programs, they don't reach back and grab some of these brothers either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Gibbs could be a coordinator at Kentucky or wherever else, or a position coach, to make that kind of money. But we get this. Oh man, this is the Chitlin League. This is black college football. I feel still 53 yards wide and 100 yards long. You know what I'm saying? We still develop young folks. So again, I mean, man, I'm just glad to meet the brother, and I wish him well. And look, we got another bad brother coming on.
Yes, sir.
Another great head football coach, and we ready to rock and roll.
I got to put my North Jackson hat on now. And I want to start. And I want to start when Coach Taylor comes on. I need to say the first word first, and then we can go. Okay.
So hey, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it was my guy from Waco, Texas, that was coming up on this podcast, I would insist on introducing it. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity, Mr. Campbell. Would you like to introduce?
Absolutely. Yeah. From Jackson State University, my grandfather's alma mater, class of 1938, the head coach of the Jackson State Tigers, T.C. Taylor.
Hey, Coach, that was great. That was great practice. I guess he dropped off right before.
Oh man, I can do it again. That's okay. We can do it again. We can reset it.
So when he connects again, we'll put him right back on. But that was funny. Soon as you went to the introduction, but no, staying on Coach Taylor, he's a guy from Jackson, went to Jackson State. I just can't wait to ask him what it means to be the coach of Jackson State, being that he's
from Macomb, Mississippi. I want to be clear. He's from Macomb. So he's not from Jackson. He played at Jackson. He's from Macomb.
Yeah, he also he coached over at North Carolina Central under
Coach at Central.
A kid I recruited out of high school named Jerry Mack.
Well, I'm telling you, it's people from Jackson talking about he's from Jackson. So they may be.
No, I'm saying that he's adopted. Yeah, I can understand it. But I want to listen, man, when you drive down that highway past Macomb, them folks from Macomb going to claim that boy. You see what I'm saying? Because I had some people from Macomb say, hey, man, Coach going to be on your show. I said, yeah, man. Them Pittmans and all. Y'all know them folks down there in Macomb, them Pittmans. That's a big name down there. So, yeah, man, them folks, hey, they ready to see the coach. Absolutely.
Okay, now you can go now, Mr. Campbell.
Okay.
You can go ahead and go.
Introducing the head coach of the Jackson State Tigers, my grandfather's alma mater, graduated 1938, 100 Brelands that attended the university, the coach, T.C. Taylor, my guy.
How's
How you doing?
Well, coach, it's out the box. Are you from Macomb or are you from Jackson? he freeze it up, coach.
Yeah. It looked like he may have froze on us.
See? Uh-oh.
Look like you're freezing up, coach. Look like we got you now, coach. Look like you're in the.
Yeah, you good now, coach.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better, coach. Much better.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I had to get the kids out the video game. You know, they back there on the PlayStation and stuff, rolling back there. I had to get them off the Wi-Fi for a second. So they mad at me. But my way of Macomb, Mississippi, right about an hour south of Jackson, you know. So that's home for Pike County. That's where it all started.
Coach, I tried to now. Listen, Coach. I got to set this up, okay? Because I'm gonna help you. We are only gonna have 5 Deion Sanders questions maximum. We are here to talk to T.C. Taylor about. So, Coach, I'm gonna help you out because I don't want this to be 30 minutes about Deion this and Deion that. Okay? We know who he is. You know who he is. Everybody knows. So I'm gonna help you out, Coach, because we don't want to have it. We want to talk to you, and I got a lot of great questions for you. Because, like I say, I'm a Jacksonian. So I just wanted to lay the groundwork for you, Coach, because I know you've been asked enough Deion Sanders questions. So I'm gonna let Rocky ask his 4, and Coach can ask his 1, because I'm not gonna ask any. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you know. All right, Coach, I'm gonna turn it over to y'all.
Hey, Coach. Like I said, I don't have a lot of Deion Sanders questions, Coach. But what I will say is, when you were announced as head coach on that YouTube video that I saw, I ended up cheering on that video just like those kids, because it was something authentic, it was something inspirational about that moment. And can you just tell us how you felt in that moment when they announced you as head coach?
It was a long time coming. You talk about a place that you grew up in the vet, you grew up around Jackson State football as a fan, as a player. You had so many great weekends there, in the city of Jackson. Just to be able to lead the program, I tell people all the time, it was kind of like a dream come true. I always knew I'd have an opportunity to be a head coach, but to be able to lead your alma mater, somewhere you grew up in the city of Jackson, it was just like, a dream come true. And then the support, to see the looks and the way those players, was behind me and, believed in me as a coach. It was a great moment in my career.
Well, if you know Jackson State football, the only time Jackson State, and you'll attest to this, TC, only time they messed up is when they didn't hand the damn baton down to a Jacksonian. Coach Carson and those cats, it just, W.C. Gordon, it just went like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Then they somehow, some way, they want to go with let's go get a PWI guy. And I can cuss on my show, can he damn near took Jackson State underneath the ground. And I know where he is. I know the cat personally. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say his name because I love him and his family. But anyway, that's what they were supposed to do, Coach. Keep it in the swag, baby. Because you swag. Now, you know I got to pick with you, right, Coach?
Oh, yeah. I got
on that old sunny day where Daryl Asbury was the coordinator back there in 2002 or something. He had these 2 deers at the wide out. This quarterback they called Superman, and they put all in the newspaper when the Alabama show up. We don't be throwing the ball out. You know what I'm saying? Then the coordinator get in the middle of the field and pop a Red Bull. What? I'm looking like, what is going on? But he didn't know he was up against the master.
But what a game, though.
68 points later.
What a game.
You had a hell of a game too, Coach. You got a couple outs and took him to the house. It was just back and forth. Back and forth.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of my biggest games of my career. I think I ended up with like 14 catches, had 234 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. But you're talking about one of the greatest games I think ever played in the vet that night. 58 points on our end. What still wasn't enough when you guys came to town. It was if I'm not mistaken, I think it was our homecoming. You know, it was just a crazy atmosphere, packed house. But you know, one game that I always remember, you know, against a legendary coach like yourself, that had so much success. You know, and Coach Asbury, you know, he was lit for that game. I remember preparing all that week. You know, we was riding high. Hey, y'all got to come to the vet. You know, we was ready to put on the show. But you know, Mr. Kennedy and him, you had a quarterback. You know, he had different thoughts that night.
Yeah.
Hey,
Coach, man, I know you had to feel good coming back coaching at your alma mater. Did any of your old players reach out to you and congratulate you and that kind of thing? Are they in support now?
Definitely. Old players that I played with, previous players that I coached, you know, just the support was just overwhelming. You know, it was just so many people behind me. Even, you know, some former NFL coaches, the time that I spent in the NFL was reaching out to me, telling me anything you need for support and everything. They were so proud of me, happy for me, you know, for us getting that job. And it was just a special time. You know, it was a special time when you get that opportunity. And it just let me know that a lot of people were watching. You know, that was kind of shocking to me. Like, you know, people from all over the United States reaching out to you, you know, ESPN reaching out. You know, it was a whirlwind. It was a lot going on for me last year.
You know, Coach Taylor, after you took over the job, you know, it was a lot of excitement and everything. But I want to go back to 2 years prior to that, Coach. Mm-hmm. And you were asked to join Coach Sanders' coaching staff, right? You had been a coordinator prior to coming on Coach Sanders' coaching staff. Did he bring you on as a position coach?
Yes. When at the time that I joined with him, when he came to Jackson State, I was the tight ends coach.
So, you know. So let me, and this is what goes into my next question. Was it that important to be at Jackson that you would go from a coordinator to a tight ends coach just to be at Jackson?
Yeah, it was so much that went into that. You know, you talked about me being from Mississippi, from Macomb, and throughout my coaching career, myself and my family, we've been gone. You know, we've been gone. We was in Houston, over at Texas Southern. We went over to the Central. Before that, I was in JUCO ball. I had moved my family to Memphis, and you know, we were just ready to come home. You know, and experience that. My kids wanted to be around some family. You know, just seeing them being, you know, back with family. And as well as myself, you know, getting family. It's nothing like having family in the stands, you know, that support system. You know, I'm a country boy, Mississippi boy, man, and that's what that decision was all about. And then again, too, you know, we had a lot of success at Central, and you know, it was great times there. But you know, it was time for me to come home. You know, and that's what made helped me make that decision for us getting back here.
Yeah, Coach, I coached Jerry back out of high school, recruited him, brother, and how much influence did he have? Of course, you worked with him in North Carolina Central, and y'all had some success there. And I'm pretty sure he keeps still in contact with you today. Yeah, he's a good guy. How much influence did he have, or mentoring you to be fit where you are?
Huge. You know, he was very pivotal in my career. You know, once I got over to Central with him, you know, well, when I was at Texas Southern, he reached out to me and told me, you know, he was going to be taking that head job at Central. And he wanted me to help come over there and, you know, coach the quarterbacks at the time. And he said, you know, you'll be a critical piece of what I want to do here. He laid out the plan, and, you know, it took off from day one. You know, it took off from day one. He and I, you know, we've been knowing each other forever. You know, we went to Jackson State together. We was on the team together at Jackson State. But we always bounced out ideas off each other. But you talking about a ball coach, you know what I mean? Like, he burned the candle at both ends. He loves the game of football. Awesome football mind, you know, awesome football mind. And, you know, just being there with him those years at Central, it was huge for me. You know, he opened up everything. He wasn't the head coach that I always wanted to know the why. You know, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And then I saw the success we was having. So a lot of the stuff that I picked up from him, you know, I brought over, you know, with me to this day. You know, even some of the things we're doing offensively, you know, a lot of the things that I picked up over there at Central. And then, you know, after a year over there with him, you know, he said, you know, basically want you to, learn what we're doing with this system. And he handed it over there to me. And, the rest was history after that. But very big part of my career, Jerry Mack, great friend of mine.
Yeah. The only bad decision he made was he went to Jackson State instead of Tennessee State. Coach, man, look, we got the word. One thing about our show, we dig and find out you're calling your own plays this year, Coach.
Yeah.
We hear you said you're calling your own plays. So when one go bad, just point down it. That's the guy called that play. And when you score,
oh yeah.
Really, are you gonna call your own plays this year? You're gonna kind of take over?
Yeah, I'm gonna be heavily involved in the play calling this year. Just kind of Coach Mo, moved on to Auburn. He did a great job for us last year. We led the conference in total offense. But once he moved on, I just said, I've done it before, and I know it's a lot on my plate, for us trying to be the head coach and call plays. But it's about the guys I got around me. These new guys I got around me. I got some great offensive minds around me. Great offensive line coach. Manny Ramirez came over from Texas Southern. Eric Gallen came over here as my running backs coach. A young up-and-comer, Rip Kirk, that was on our staff last year that's going to be coaching the quarterbacks. Vincent Marshall came over from Norfolk. So, they make it comfortable for me. We really get in there and put our minds together. Great football minds, develop the football players on a day-to-day basis. So they're going to make my job easy. And I always tell people, I feel like I'm pretty good at it. I've been to the Celebration Bowl several times, as a play caller. And, last year it would have been too much. I'm not going to lie to you. It would have been too much as a first-year head coach. I was just trying to learn the intricacies of things and how things roll and everything. But now this year, I'm just catching up with the speed of everything. Now I'm like at a different comfort zone. I got my staff in place and the people around me, so I feel good about it.
You bring up last year, Coach Taylor, and we all celebrated when you were given the job, when you earned the job. I don't want to say given, when you earned the job and you were appointed at the helm, and the expectations of the previous regime was still the same expectations that they had. I guess what I'm asking you, after losing, 40 plus, maybe even 50 players off your roster, do you think the expectations that the fan base of Jackson had going into last year was reasonable? Because a lot of us from the outside looking in, we were saying, hold up, the guy lost over half his roster. He has to replace new coaches. He's a first-time head coach. Why are y'all having the expectations of him winning the conference and going to the Celebration Bowl in his first year? Do you think that was too much expectations put on your program in his first year?
No, because the people of Jackson State, if you know Jackson State football, they could care less. They want to win. That's the expectation on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, I've been around this program, this right here, long enough to know the expectation. The Jackson State wants to win. That's the expectation day one. That's the expectation we had going into last season. We expected to be in the Celebration Bowl. That's what we talked about with all those new players, new coaches and everything. That's my expectation. But it's what we talking about in the HBCU. It's the tradition. It's all about the tradition and the expectation. And, they hold us to a standard. And I always tell people, too, if they're going to show out 30,000 plus each and every week, whether we on the road or at home, it's our job to, get us to football in December, which is the Celebration Bowl.
Well, Coach, let me pick up from there, because I want to steer, and I want to correct, because I think I know this. You were already on the staff at Jackson State, correct? Yes. And then you moved over to Coach Prime staff. Now, let me ask you a question. Were you the only coach that moved over from the previous staff over to Coach Prime staff?
No, it's my right-hand man, Otis Ridley.
Okay, that's right. You and Coach Ridley were the two that came over. Okay.
Yeah,
I wanted to clear that up because I think that is very important for people to know, because you were that DNA strand that really was a connector. Now, I'm going to move on. Now, Coach, this was the thing. I always like to say to people, as somebody being from Jackson, you had the Prime era, but then you had the Jackson State era. That has always been what you're talking about. So, Coach, Jackson State has the greatest football legacy in the state of Mississippi. So you all were not new to tradition of winning. What do you tell your players who found out about Jackson State through Prime? Do you kind of tell the players this long history? Because, Coach, even when you were playing, you guys had first-round draft picks. I think it was 6 or 7 guys that got drafted, not counted free agents. During the W.C. Gordon era, in those late 80s, they literally had 20 guys drafted along with first-rounders and things like that. So do you kind of let the guys know, like, if you went to Alabama or you went to SC, Ohio State, that this is a tradition-laden program and it's not just this was a 2-year gap. This is something when you come to Jackson State, that Tiger tradition goes all the way back to Bob Hill and Harold Jackson and Walter Payton. Do you kind of let them know that they're in the halls of champions?
Yeah, I think, though, in the whole recruiting process, we talk to these young men, they feel it. The fans really do a good job with this social media stuff too, making sure these players understand that. But, once they get in-house, they talk about it. We have players that come from all kind of Power 5 schools, and they just like, Coach, the love and the day-to-day basis of what, how you interact with us is just different. We feel it. We understand it. That's why I try to get as many of those named Robert Brazile. Is every home game he's at the hotel speaking to the players and talking about those things, like you said, about the tradition and everything. So they feel the difference. They feel the difference once they get on campus, once we're going through the process with everything. But I'm gonna let them know. I let them know all the time. JSU has been successful a long time, and that's when I get into the expectation. We're like we talked about. You're expected to win games when you get off the bus. You expect to be up 21 points when you get off the bus. But they know about it. We talk to them on a day-to-day basis about it. The 4 Hall of Famers, we lead the state of Mississippi in college, as far as NFL Hall of Famers as well. We definitely preach that to our young men on campus.
Now, Coach, with that being said, the last 2 years, you all have been ranked with the #1 HBCU recruiting class. Correct. What is your philosophy? We knew there was a philosophy of portal players, but the one thing, and again, I'm as somebody from Jackson, I knew how great the recruiting was when you got Mississippi players, people that knew the Jackson State tradition. Have you moved back to a little bit? I'm looking at your recruiting, and again, doing great in the portal, but I also seeing you getting those kids from Jackson now that you were going to Mississippi State, that were going to Ole Miss, that were going down to Southern Mississippi and actually going out of state. So have you kind of looked back and said, we're going to start putting a fence around the state of Mississippi and dominating that? Is that one of the things that you're looking to do along with using the portal?
Oh, definitely. If you going back to last year, when you lose 60 players, I mean, you got to go get, you got to fill a roster at that point. And we did a good job, myself and Coach O and that coaching staff from last year. But I can remember leaving that Celebration Bowl. It was, once that game was over, myself and Coach O, we had to go to work, because what was so scary, we got back to the building and it was just us, we just sitting in there. And I'm like, bro, we got to get after it. So first of all, we started putting together our coaching staff and everything, and then we hit the ground rolling with recruiting. And, once the portal thing started happening with guys leaving out, we had setting up our depth chart, guys we want to target and get in here. But last year was more of just, trying to fill a roster. And we ended up, with, like you said, with the #1 recruiting class, transfer-wise, and then this year, it was kind of different. We was able to retain some players this year. So we really wanted to go after a lot of these high school kids, and start building for the future. We have a dynamite high school class right now, a lot of names that's going to make an impact this year on the football field for us that we're very excited about. But that's how you approach it. And then I always looked at it like, those people that's in the stands, what better way to fill the stands, rather Mississippi kids, with Mississippi kids. And a lot of those players that you talked about that ventured out, I've been back since 19, so I've been having a relationship with those kids from high school. When I go to high schools, I want to talk to all of them. Let me talk to the best one from the top to the bottom, because you never know. You talk about like Jacoby and Morgan. I recruited him out of high school, at Canton High School. But, he ended up choosing Syracuse. And then just because of the relationship we had, and the things didn't work his way at Syracuse, he was able to come back to Jackson State. And that's what I always tell my coaches, you recruit them all the same. It's about relationships.
Coach, how's your facility? Is everything still there? Y'all still use the barbershop as well? How's just that joke? But how's the facility? Is it still? Of course, I see pictures and stuff of it. It looks like it's a fantastic. The team room looks great. That's a recruit tool. How much do you use that?
Oh, it's unbelievable, and that's one of the big recruiting pieces for us when we get them on campus. Our facility, like you said, right there at the Walter Payton, is state of the art with the meeting room, team meeting rooms, the players' locker room, players' lounge. Everything that our AD has put into that that facility has been awesome. Then the renovation of our weight room, and here's what be funny: you get a lot of kids that come in there from those Power 5, Group of 5 schools, and they honestly tell you, like, Coach, shoot, y'all got just as much stuff as we had at these other places. And it's a great selling point. That's why we're able to go out here and get these the student athletes that we get, because the facilities, our turf practice field, and everything that's laid out, and that goes back to what our AD Robinson has been doing for us. He very rarely tells me no. He pretty much.
Yeah, Coach. Were you a 5-star athlete coming out? What made you go to Jackson State? He froze.
I think he froze up.
They might be back on that game, Coach.
Hold on.
Yeah, he froze up a little bit.
He'll come back in.
Yeah. Well, I think while Coach is coming on, I think that has really helped Jackson State recruit. Because, again, we all saw it and saw the facilities being built. And like I said, somebody that went – I'm jealous. I'm jealous because Jackson State has some amazing facilities. And then when you start adding on the tradition, when you start adding on playing into the vet, that's helping you recruit players and everything, and it helps level the playing field when you're going up against, other schools. And like I said, especially schools in state, because again, now Ole Miss has gotten good. When I grew up, Ole Miss was not good. Mississippi State has gotten better. So now you got to fight for those guys. And like Coach Taylor said, hey, I'm going to even recruit those guys. Even if they go to these schools, they at least know to come back to Jackson State. So I think that has really, helped them, and things like that. So when I look at that and somebody, at FAMU, and I'm like, man, we got to get our stuff together, because their weight room is beautiful, so I'm excited about that, what they're doing. And, the alumni has really stepped up and everything. So I'm really excited about that.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Campbell, and this is just from an outsider's perspective. How much credit would you give the previous coaching regime, the administration, and the AD? How would you divide up the credit for the facilities that are currently at Jackson State University?
Well, okay. So look, I want to be clear on something. Jackson State already had the project plans to redo the Walter Payton facility. So I think a lot of people don't know that. So, so with that being said, I'm never going to discount, like I say, what Deion Sanders did for Jackson State. I'm never going to discount that. He brought people like you and became a fan of Jackson State football. I like anybody that comes to any HBCU for whatever, I'm glad you're here. But what I think, and me being from Jackson, I think there is a fine balance. And I think, and this is just a Jackson person, and this is from people that went to Jackson State, my family. They want to let you know Jackson State has been there since 1877. Don't forget that. And there's a fine tradition. And like I was telling Coach, you got to understand something. When Coach T.C. Taylor was playing, and I think they probably are the last HBCU to have 2 first-round draft picks in the same draft. Think about that. And that was, I think, 2001 when Coach Taylor was playing. They had a defensive back drafted #1 and a wide receiver. You don't see that with HBCUs. Now, Coach Columbia, hey, Coach, I was just bringing on something. Those 2 draft picks that were #1, you were on that team, right? Those guys with you, right? The 2 guys that got drafted. Yeah. Rashard and go ahead.
Rashard Anderson, Sylvester Morris.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Coach, I was just explaining to them. We were talking about facilities. I'm gonna let you get back into it, but I was just saying there's always been this tradition of great players and things like that. So and again, this is me talking, not you. While I respect everything that Coach Prime did, I think it's what it built on. It didn't build it. You know what I mean? There's a difference. it built on to what was already great at Jackson State. Now, all right, Coach, I'll turn it back to you. Brock, go ahead. You guys will ask the coach the question.
No, Coach, I asked, and you from the inside, and you can give your perspective. I see a culmination of it being a team effort and making Jackson State what it is today, right? I think a lot of it has to do with the administration. A lot of it has to do with what I consider the best AD in athletics, right? And then I also will give some credit to a transformational, phenomenal head coach at an HBCU, which I consider Coach Prime to be. I think they all came together. And I was just trying to figure out how do you feel like the credit should be divvied up between the administration, a phenomenal AD, and a transformational head coach that was at the helm for just 2.5 years?
I mean, I think it's kind of like what you said. It was just a total team effort, those last couple of years when Coach Prime was here. The things that he was able to bring and the things that A.D. Robinson was able to do as well. You talk about those was some 2 years of something I've never experienced before at a HBCU, to be honest. You talk about, I can remember Good Morning America being on campus. That was like crazy to me to see Michael Strahan and them out there on the practice field, and that's just exposure for the school. That was great exposure. And then you look at one weekend a home game, we got College Game Day here. Another crazy time for the school and just great publicity for the school, the things that, Coach Prime, brought to Jackson State. And also, too, now you got to just look at it for his son was a great player. You're talking about a potential top 5 pick going into the draft, Travis Hunter, the #1 player in the country, attending Jackson State. So it was one of the most different. I've never experienced nothing like that, and I've been around HBCU ball all my life. I've never experienced nothing like that. As a HBCU fan, a player, nothing like that. Just to see how things were going on a day-to-day basis, the type of players we were getting in here. He kind of put a good blueprint in there for us to recruiting. The type of players we were getting in here. Those 2 years, we were just better than everybody. Just being honest with you. The type of dudes that we had some phenomenal players. Dennis Thurman, was our defensive coordinator. This is a guy that coached on the NFL level, at the highest level with Rex Ryan and those guys. So it was just great times. It was great times. It was a great time. We played in 2 celebration bowls, but I think it was a total team effort. It was a lot of energy, a lot of buzz with the fans and everything. So, those are the things that I think he brought, while he was here those 2 years.
Yeah. Well, Coach, shoot, let's get into your football team, Coach. You've had top recruiting class. Man, who gonna be the trigger man? Is it a race? You got a good room? Who's the trigger man this year, or you hadn't decided yet?
I got 3 guys right now, 2 off last year's team that's doing a great job. I got 3 guys right now that I can honestly say that they can go play somewhere else and compete for a starting job. Starting with Jacoby and Morgan, a guy that finished the season out last year for us. I think he ended up 3-1. Had probably ended up with 16, 17 total touchdowns. Transferred from Syracuse, came from Canton High School, but tremendous upside. The guy that got 2 more years of eligibility left, about 6'5", close to about 215, 220. He's having a good camp. Zy McDonald, another local kid that transferred back here that went to Ridgeland High School, that's really electric, a true dual threat guy. And we got a kid here from Eastern Michigan, Cam, that's doing real good. All 3 of those guys are competing at a high level. It's a pleasure to see them moving on a day-to-day basis, and Coach, how it is, the one that can win over the team and the team gets behind, that's going to be the guy.
And I know it's coming down to the last 2 weeks. Are you leaning towards one of them, or when will you, well, let me ask, when will you start leaning towards the guy? Because of course, you know how reps, the starter need a little more reps than the backups. When will you start getting to that?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, when we hit Monday, we probably got about 10, 11 days before kickoff. You know, so we'll finish this week out. We'll break camp on Saturday, and once Monday get in here, you know, I start increasing those reps for the guy that I think, you know, this, you know, more than capable of leading this football team. But it'll be Monday of next week before we start, you know, making that decision and moving forward with that decision.
How many players did you lose off of offense this past year?
Not many. We got pretty much everybody come back. Our entire offensive line is intact off of last year's team. Our receiver core is back. All our running backs, tight ends, and everything. You know, we didn't lose a lot. We didn't lose a lot.
So basically, you said y'all kind of reloaded, huh?
That's basically what we did. And you know, Coach, it didn't hit me. You know when it hit me? When we did senior day. You know, we did senior day last year against Alcorn at home, and I'm looking at the guys coming through. Like, oh, we in good shape. You know, we gonna be. All I got to do is add a few more pieces. We definitely wanted to get faster, a little faster on the perimeter. But you know, pretty much everybody that played significant minutes are back this year for us.
Yeah. Now, J-State, baby, they always was good on that defense, Coach.
Oh yeah.
How many did you lose, and where your strong point at?
We probably lost three defensive guys off last year's team. We really emphasize in recruiting this year the linebacker position. I know I've been saying it a lot on a lot of podcasts and stuff, but it's a pleasure to see those linebackers, you know, the length that we got, the speed that we got, the size, and they bring that thump. You know, I talk about that. I want guys that can strike. We didn't have the depth that we needed last year. John Huggins was a great player for us that played safety. We ended up having to move the linebacker, but we don't have that we have a luxury now. We got great depth, you know, at that position. You know, we had a couple of transfers come in here and a junior college transfer that came in here that I'm very excited about on that side of the ball. But you know, the D line is the strength of the team. We very deep on got great depth there right there. We probably got about 16 guys on that D line. Probably about 12 of those guys can really play football. And the secondary pretty much returned everybody. We lost only one guy over there at the corner position.
Oh, okay. Coach, let's talk about, man, that East Side SWAC, Coach, is rough. You know, you was trying to get past the hump, but Simmons was always there. Of course,
Right there.
you know, he right there. He gone. And then now, man, you got Alabama State, tough. You know what I'm saying? Of course, y'all tough. Of course, Florida A&M is always going to be tough. Man, where you think you guys at? You know, it's very important that you get out of the gate real fast.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I tell my guys all the time, you know, we in order to you know, be playing for a SWAC championship, we got to win the East. You know, that's what it starts with, and it's some. You think about it, what is it? The last 3 years, the SWAC champion has came out of the East. Yeah. You know, has come out of the East.
Walk through it. Let's get that straight. Walk through it.
That's a great point.
It ain't even no competition.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point. But
you guys, go ahead.
A lot of turnover this year in the East. You know, Alabama State, Eddie Roberts doing a great job over there, you know, building that program up. You know, he got body over there, the quarterback that's played a lot of SWAC football too. So that's going to get interesting. And that was a great football game. He said it, and then he came down and did. Kicked our butts for homecoming. A great football game. We just got to find ways to finish. And FAMU, you know, Cozy, he lost a lot, but he brought in a lot of bullets. You know, he brought in a lot of FBS transfers. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how he gets that team to gel and play together when you bring in that many, you know, FBS type transfers. And then don't sleep on Bethune. You know, I think Coach did a great job down there recruiting and you know, getting that thing turned around there. So that East is going to be something to see this year, you know, and of course, hey, JSU, we're going to be pretty strong ourselves.
Well, you know, we try to put together who's going to win, who's going to live. Rocky, can you put that up?
Oh yeah, Coach. We put it, let's put it up right quick. So
let me speak on that first because I want to speak. Let me go first on that.
Go ahead, Coach.
Coach, what they're pulling up is our predictions.
I'm good with it. You know, we just had SWAC Media Day, so you know how that went over there.
All right. That's the West. Put the East.
Hold on. I get the East here, so
Okay. Now,
right.
Coach, I went to Florida A&M University.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Jackson. Now, let me tell you about my pick. And I have been on every podcast. I said FAMU is 1 and Jackson State is 1A. And I have said, and Coach, I know people have even whispered this to you, 10-19-24. That is when the Rattlers come to the vet. And I have told everybody, if you want to see a football game from FAMU, this is the game you got to come to. And Coach, not only did I tell you that, during the SWAC Media Day, we asked our football players, you know the place they said they wanted to go to the most?
Which one?
Was come to Jackson, Mississippi to the vet.
Oh, yeah.
So even our players know that game means something. So, Coach, I want to ask you, now that FAMU has come, and you like to say you've been, again, I thought FAMU should have been SWAC 30 years ago. So I think it's just a natural fit for us. But talk to us, and again, the FAMU, got a lot of FAMU people listening, about those battles that you all, because to me, the Jackson State FAMU game have been, again, we love our bands, love the Marching One assignment, but I come from the old school era, Coach, of your era, where people came to see the football teams play football, you know, and everything. Talk to me about the physicality of those games that we've had those last 3 years, and what you have kind of seen of how that rivalry has just kind of grown to where now people talk about it.
I mean, that's one that a lot of people mark on their calendar period when you talk about HBCU football, is the SWAC, that matchup with FAMU and Jackson State. You know, it's been down there at the Orange Blossom Classic, but now to make it a home and home, it just increased the level of intensity that much more. You know, when I can remember when I was playing, you know, FAMU back in 98, 97, I think, when FAMU, we did a home and home, and it was just a packed crowd, intense football game. These last 3 years, like I said, you talk about two teams that has played for the SWAC championship. You know, that game is everything, you know, to our players, fans on both sides of the football. You got the bands at each other, you know. So it's a physical football game, you know, and it's going to say a lot on that date when they come to Jackson. You know, we'll be ready to play. I know Coach Cozy had those guys ready to play, but that rivalry right there is turned into something a little different right now. You know, over these last 3 years, now it's elevated to, you know, the levels of, you talk about the Capital City Classic, you know, when we play Southern, you know, FAM is like right there, number one with those schools, with the rest of those schools right now.
Okay, Coach. Now the Coach Campbell, he talking about 1A and 1B and all this old crap. All right, I got Alabama State. They've been playing solid football for the last couple of years. They just didn't have any offense. I think they got a new offensive coordinator. Of course, everybody know about Buddy. He can play. We went to see him this spring. Eddie is almost the grandfather of that side. He's coming in his third year. So a lot of this mixed up with me was about who's been in place. Eddie is going into his third year. You know, and I usually think, and Eddie's a great coach, just like yourself, just like Cozy is coming through. I just went with the coach that has his system in place. See, you still kind of coaching Deion Sanders folks, but you getting your folks in there, I think. So that was my choice. I thought FAM had a lot returning. Of course, they got athletes running around everywhere. So that's why I went Alabama State, FAMU, Jackson State. I didn't say Alabama State A, FAMU B, and UC. I went 1, 2, 3.
Well, Coach, I said that because I'm just going to tell you, Coach, everybody knows that the championship is going to run in that game. That's why it's 1A, 1B. See, everybody else, as you see, 3, 4, 5, 6 don't even count on my list, Coach. I'm just telling you. See, Coach, on his list, all them other people count. And Coach, let me tell you something. When you come back, and me and you, Coach, when me and you are right, because it's going to be either y'all or us, we're going to say we told you so. So I'm just going to put that out there, Coach. That's it.
I got you.
Okay, let me go through my picks and give Coach an explanation for my picks, Coach. Coach, you guys have been my favorite team in HBCU football for the last 3 years. I've rooted for you guys, 4 years, Coach. Even in the spring, I rooted for you guys. I rooted for you guys, and I consider myself a Jackson State fan. But Coach, last year I understood that FAMU had an established roster, they had an established coach. You guys lost so much due to the transfer portal, and I understood, what was going on. This year, coming in this year, Alabama State, I think, is primed to win the championship, not only because of their roster, and I was able to lay eyes on them this spring during the spring game, but also because their two most pivotal games of the year are home games for those guys. And I think ultimately that's gonna be that's gonna tip the scale in their favor. Coach, I still think you guys are gonna be really good, really competitive. I'm a huge fan of Jacobian Morgan and Irv Mulligan. But what I was surprised about last year is the defense. I didn't expect you guys to do when you had James Houston and Aubrey Miller, but I didn't expect to see what I saw last year, that much of a drop off. And so that's why, I say Alabama State with those home games, they're going to be, really good next year. And I'm glad to hear that you guys have bolstered your defense by adding some linebackers that can really get you guys back to where you were playing prior to last year. So we'll see. And the thing about this, Coach, we don't have to argue over this. We don't have to fight about it. We don't have to call each other names, because guess what, Coach? It's going to be decided on the field.
Yeah. Coach, I want to get since I got you on the spot, you be so busy trying to reach you. Man, we want to probably try to bring our show to your spring next year. You're so hard to get to. We had to go through the back door. I had talked to Obama 7 times before I can get to you. So while I got you, Coach, we want to try to come out there for the spring, Coach. Shoot some folks, talk to some of your players, and get in there and kind of bring Jackson State to our people. Can we come out there, Coach, and
I love that.
Kind of watch the spring game? We ain't ESPN yet, but our show, TC, was, and our platform is to make sure that you guys, that we got some great Black, intelligent coaches. I should say Black. I should just say football coaches. And you've been in the league in old school where they used to say all the chitlin lead and all that, but we produce players. And producing great players, you got to have somebody teaching. And so I always loved the Jackson State tradition. Hopefully y'all can stay with that tradition and move your program forward. Like I said, you're going into your second year, and you put your blueprint now on the program. So we looking for big things out of you this year. What's your prediction, Coach? Besides that you number one, who come in behind you?
Well, first of all, let me say this I'm thinking about y'all predictions. I get it. I get it. I do get it. Those two.
You can dog us out, Coach. We okay.
Hold on. No, let me say this. The reason I can't argue about that, the two teams that y'all had ahead of us, they did beat us last year. That's the only thing I'm gonna say about that. So we'll get the opportunity to take care of business this year. I feel good about my football team, though. I'm serious. I really feel good about our football team. We've been kind of quiet, under the radar a little bit. Everybody wondering what's going on, and we're going to show that on the 29th. We got some really good depth. I got some really good football players over here that I'm excited about, that I put up against anybody, in that list you had as well in the West. And, we're going to we're going to line it up and spot the ball and play football here in a couple of weeks. Because once it take off, once the smoke clears, we'll see what December look like.
That's right, Coach. Coach, tell I got a kid that's looking for a school, and tell me why would my son or a good football player come to Jackson State and actually come play for you if you're speaking to him right now?
The first thing first, I always talk about, for me, I talk to these young men. When you get a job, you want to be going to a job that you're comfortable with every day. The worst thing you can have is a job that you hate going to work. And I talk to them about that. You're going to be around a coaching staff that's going to develop you. You know, we talk about life after football. We don't just talk about developing you as a football player here. You know, what's your plans after football? We do a great job with that stuff too, you know, making sure you guys, you know, resume building. We do all those things, having guest speakers come in there, just developing these young men, you know, getting them ready for life after football. The football stuff take care of itself, or I wouldn't be on the phone with you. I know you can play football. I talk to them about that all the time. If you're hearing from me, we know you can play some football, but you're going to have, in 3-4 years, you're going to be developed at its highest level. And we're going to coach you from, you know, day one you walk on this campus. It's not going to be just one coach that's coaching you as well. You know, it's going to be, if you may have an issue here with us, or while you here, you don't just necessarily have to talk to your position coach. You can knock on any coach's door here. You know, we got a great family atmosphere, great campus, great fans, and you're going to win football games. And that's the stuff that we preach to these young men, you know, when we're recruiting them. We don't just recruit them as well. You know, I want to talk to you. You know, I love to talk to the parents, because they want to know, you know, how are you going to take care of my son as well? So we talk to the parents. Everybody is going to be in there making that decision as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Coach,
we know the Sonic Boom is going to be ready.
hey, Coach, I got a question for you. You talk to the Alcorn people, and you're their rival. You talk to the Grambling people, you're their rival. You talk to the Southern people, you're their rival. You talk to the Mississippi Valley State people, you're their rival. And I got to ask you, Coach, you've been a Jackson State fan, a player, and now the head coach. Who's your rival?
Coach, did you hear that one? Coach, did you hear that one?
Can you hear me now, Coach?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I hear you. Coach, what I said is you talk to
I hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, I say you talk to the Southern people, they're your rival. You talk to the Grambling people, and they're your rival. You talk to the Mississippi Valley and Alcorn people, they're your rival. Coach, as a as a Jackson State fan, Jackson State coach, Jackson State player, who is Jackson State's rival?
Well, you got that's a good one.
Well, it used to be Tennessee State. Are y'all ever gonna get back to that game?
That's a question for my AD. I just play football. No, but that's a great question, because all right, let me say this: the Southern, you know, that rivalry is a little different, because they don't like us and we don't like them. Right. You know what I mean? It's just, that's what it is. You know, we don't like them, they don't like us. The Alcorn rivalry, as far as I can remember, that's like a family divided, if that makes sense. You know, my wife's an Alcornite. You know, she giving me a lot of crap through that week. You know, and I'd be telling, like, you better understand who pay the bills around here. You know, don't tell I said that, but you know, but for me, it's gonna always be that Alcorn game, though. You know, it's gonna always be that Alcorn game. That's one I can remember growing up, going to see Steve McNair play. You know, when he came to the vet. You know, it's nothing like that Soul Bowl for me. So I'm gonna have to say that Soul Bowl.
Yeah.
Coach, let me ask you. No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Coach Cole. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Rocky, you know, with the Soul Bowl, one year Alcorn was 10-0, Jackson State 10-0. They sold it out, 60-some thousand people all in the stands, Coach. Yeah. It was old school.
Yeah, sitting up the aisles and the stairs. You couldn't even get up the aisles. You know, people were sitting on the stairways up, and I remember that. You know.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a question, because I think you being a player at Jackson State, and you being a wide receiver, and how many great wide receivers have come through Jackson State. Now, first of all, do you still hold the all-time single season record for yards and reception? Do you still hold that record still?
It never be broke.
So, see, I want people to understand how great a wide receiver you were. So, Coach, I wanted to kind of go back. Now, this is as going back down memory lane a little bit. You being a player. Talk about when you were a player, the coaching staff, the environment and what you've seen and how it has still maintained. Well, I guess 20 years later. Talk about your playing days at Jackson State a little bit.
I mean, they were amazing. You know, the fanfare. I played for Big Daddy. You know what I mean?
James Carson. Yes, right.
That's
Coach
what we call him,
Carson.
Big Daddy.
I went to school with his son. Yes.
Yeah, I played for Big Daddy and Judge. Yeah, you know, so I can remember Big Daddy out there on that golf cart with them big cigars in his mouth. You know, I tell people all the time. I remember one day I came to practice late and I was telling him, like, Big Daddy, you know, he come to me, what you know, he had that old scratchy voice. What you late for practice for? I said, Big Daddy, I had class, I had a test to take. He cussed me out, take another test. You know, it's football first at Jackson State. You know, just that kind of stuff. I never forget those days, you know, stuff like that. WC was one of my biggest mentors. You know, he was from Pike County. You know, right. WC one of the greatest to ever do it. You know, he used to talk to me all the time, and you just used to talk to me about, you know, the future that I was having. He was kind of predicting it then, you know, Robert Hughes, Judge, you know, those guys. But you talk about the fan and the love of Jackson State. I can remember, like, it's people now that were fans then that now they have kids that's grown up, you know, that are still those same people that are big fans of Jackson State. You know, just the love is crazy. And it really hadn't much changed. You know, we had a few down years back in, well, around the 2000s up in there somewhere, you know, but Comedy came back in here and won, and, you know, people fell back in love with JSU football. But these people believe in it, you know, like in the city of Jackson. You like celebrities around here with Jackson State football. They believe in it, and we talk about that expectation. You know, everybody's looking forward to those games on Saturdays here at Jackson State.
Yeah, that's the talk of the town. Well, Coach,
see, Rocky, I'm gonna say one thing, Coach. I'm gonna say one thing. This is for Rocky. See, Rocky, you don't understand when you're in the state of Mississippi and there's 50,000 black folks in the vet at 7:30 at night, and it's Jackson State and Southern, Jackson State and Grambling, and you're looking on one side has pros on one side and the other team has pros. And when you get that thing to rocket, and Coach knows this, and those last second wins, there is nothing that can be matched. And I will say that in the state of Ole Miss was jealous of it. Mississippi State was jealous of it. Jackson State actually sold out USM Stadium. I was at that game. They had never had a sellout till Jackson State came down there and was scared to come back to Jackson because they should have lost that game. And everybody knows that, Coach. You know that too. You probably was a young cat with a little young cat during that time. But that to see,
I know the history though.
There you go. I know you do, Coach. But to see, even like I say, to go from the 70s and now it's 2024 to see 30 to 40,000 people still coming is a testament to, Coach, what you have maintained and what the administration has done at Jackson State. And I just want to give you your flowers because as somebody being from Jackson, I tell Coach just a real quick story. When I was down at FAMU, I would go to the games, right? And people were like, "Oh, you going to the football game? You going?" And I'm like, "Y'all ain't going to the football game?" I'm like, "Man, Jackson, everybody was at the football game." Everybody. And I literally took my freshman, the funny thing, I took some of my freshman classmates that were from Chicago. They had never seen HB. I said, "Bro, Jackson State is playing Southern this weekend. I'm going to take y'all back to Jackson." And, bro, every coach, every time I went back to Jackson, they was in the first one in their car. "Man, you going back to a Jackson State game? We going with you. We going with you." So that was just how amazing the impact of playing in the vet was. And I'm so glad that you have the reins because you are a Jackson guy. You know what I mean? And that means something because I know you're going to build your legacy. Well, we're going to hear you up with Bob Hill, Big John Merritt, Coach Comagese, Coach Carson, and then, of course, you, Coach.
Coach, you putting all those expectations on Coach T.C. Taylor. Let me get through his second season first.
Oh, man, listen, man. That man know about the expectations. That man's a winner, man. Ain't nothing for a stepper. Come on, man. I told you Coach, I told you I was putting my North Jackson hat on for this interview. So I told everybody that this ain't my Fed, this is my North Jackson hat on right here.
And then you're going to wear a green and orange shirt.
Let me say this too about that too. We talk about JSU football and the city of Jackson, just the growth of Jackson. That's why it's so important for Jackson State to be successful. You know, you talk about surrounding businesses, hotels, everything, just, you know, as far as that attendance stuff, it's a lot riding on JSU for us being successful each and every year.
Yeah. Are they ever going to redo the vet? Are they ever gonna get to redo that place? Is that in the makings or in the
haven't heard much talk about it.
Okay.
Coach, let me ask you this,
Yeah, I
Coach.
haven't heard too much talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the politics that Coach know, that we all know how that goes in the state of Mississippi. Like Coach said, Jackson State brings so much money to the city of Jackson, but they can build Ole Miss State and they can build Miss. Because I'm gonna say it for you, because I know you are an employee, but I'm gonna say it for you. Jackson State should have been had a stadium. They should have been had a stadium, because the millions of dollars that Jackson State football brings, and I'm gonna say this because Coach, you just ain't got nothing to do with you, that white people make off of Jackson State is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So, Coach, like I say, I'm going to say this, and I know Chris Bell, who's a Jackson, I'm pretty sure who's in that state, and I know him, and Kenny Wayne. I don't think Kenny's in the state, but I know they have fought to get a new stadium for Jackson State, and that's Chris Bell, my '88 guy. He went to Callaway High School. Shout out to Chris Bell, and I know they're fighting to get what Jackson State is supposed to get. So, Coach, I'm going to say it because I know politically you can't say it. I'm going to say it for you. There you go.
Well, here's my question too: is where we get these 30 and 40, because you guys have led to attendance in FBS football for probably the last 35 years, right? And you got fans there. You mean to tell we can't even put a bun out and have alumni come back and donate money to get a stadium built, or at least I was there at one game when Comedy was there. At least redo the sweet box. Jesus Christ. That sweet box was back there when Walter Payton was playing. So
Hey, Coach, they trying to they want you to coach the team
in the bit though.
They want you to coach the team and deal with the facilities. But I got a question to ask you, Coach. Coach, you're a young coach. You in your second year, Coach. But in your second year, from what I understand about HBCU football, because I'm a guy from the outside looking in, Coach, you're coaching at the Ohio State or the University of Florida or the Alabama of HBCU football. How are you managing the pressure and expectations in your second season? These people are expecting you to deliver a Celebration Bowl. How do you handle these expectations that are on your program and, to be honest with you, on your players?
I keep the main thing the main thing. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I start with family, or God, then family and football. But it's gonna come down to the work we put in. I got some grinders around me, the coaching staff around me, the recruiting. That's why I want to win in every facet of the game. I want to be the number one recruiting class. I want to be the number one team in FCS. That's just the pressure I put on myself. And I tell people all the time, everybody asks me like that question there, man, is that a lot of pressure for you? I don't believe in the pressure. If we prepare and, ready to go and stay out ahead of everything, I know we're going to be successful here at Jackson State. The pressure doesn't bother me at all. I was built for this, and I've been preparing for this moment for about 5-6 years now. And I knew it was coming. Did I know it was to be here? No, I didn't. I interviewed for some other jobs. I never knew this would be the one, but I understand the expectation. Again, I grew up in it, and I know, we got to be ready to go game one in my second year.
Yeah, Coach, I got a friend of mine. He from McCombs too. You remember Moses Harper?
I know Mo.
Yeah. He's a head coach, young head coach as well, at Lincoln College. He said, talk with your AD. He want to get on your schedule for next year. He's a head coach of Division II program. Huh?
I don't turn nothing down but McCollum.
Coach, we were joking with
get in touch with me.
Yeah, we were joking with some of the other guys because everybody, Coach asked you earlier about who's your rival. And of course, Jackson State, y'all got to get up every week because everybody. And you said Alcorn State and Jackson State. So we were talking with Texas Southern or Prairie View, and Coach Bud McDowell said, you got to win that Labor Day Classic. We talking with Grambling State. Coach Joe said, you got to win that Bayou Classic. All right. Alabama State, Eddie Robinson said, boy, you got to win that Magic City. Some people rather lose and go 0-9 and win their rival game, and their job would be okay. But in your case, who is that school coach that if you having a great year and you lose, they're going to be on your right on rice? You know how our fans are. Or it's several.
To be honest, it's just several of them for Jackson State. You know, we can't lose the Southern. We can't lose the Alcorn. We can't lose like Grambling is back on the schedule this year for us. You know,
wow.
That's a big rivalry for us right there. And we already talked about what the FAMU game is turning into. It's like you said, it's week in, week out for us. You know, it's week in, week out for us. Alabama State is turning into a huge rivalry right now, you know, so it's week in, week out. But, you know, like I told you, too, that Southern game, you know, we don't like them. They don't like us. And it's early in the year this year, third game. They come into Jackson. So I'm gonna pick that one out right there, that Southern football game.
Now, do y'all got Texas Southern on your scouts on your schedule this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll travel over to Houston this year and play Texas Southern.
Is that a counter for you? Is that a game that counts since they on the west side?
No, I don't think that game counts for us though.
Okay.
I think that's one that's not gonna count.
Hey, Coach, we had Coach Brown on from Lane on our show last night, and when we brought up the Division 1A HBCUs, Coach, his fangs came out. Coach, you know what I mean? Because he said he already stung
Tennessee State,
Coach.
Tennessee State.
And he couldn't wait to bring his Mississippi boys back down to Jackson on September 7th, Coach. I just wanted to let you know that, fair warning, Coach, because if you get bit by Coach Brown, it won't be because we didn't warn you. You understand? Cause Coach, I mentioned the big boys, and I thought he was gonna get scared and get to shaking and get to shivering. Boy, his fangs came out, Coach.
Well, let me say this about my history with Lane College as a coach. Coach, them kids, they come to play. You know what I mean, TC?
Oh, yeah.
They come to play, Coach. They like the little brother that's trying to prove a point. When I was at Tennessee State, they gave us hell. You know, they ain't gonna lay down now. You know, and Coach Brown is as good as he is. He gonna have them ready.
Yeah, you know, that's a good friend of mine. That's my guy that we talk on a regular basis, and he tells me, you know, that he can't wait to that game. And it's some I think Coach McCall is still there with it. They coached at Jackson State as well too, so they're gonna be fired up. You know, they're gonna be fired up, but they got to come to the shoe though.
Yeah, the AD he coached at Jackson State as well too, right?
Coach Burrow, He was a DC here.
I just wanted to give you fair warning. Coach Brown was a really nice guy, Coach. He was seems like a really competent coach, a man with a plan, Coach. And he was actually looking forward to the challenge of playing you guys. And it was nice to see. He wasn't dismayed or discouraged about having that game on the schedule and all. And that surprised me to see that he was so eager to play that game. And so I just thought I'd mention.
Coach, one of the things, again, I repeat all the time about why the show and why I think it's so important. How do you feel? You know, I'm an HBCU graduate as well as you. That's why I'm so happy for you, your family, for Jacksonians and any HBCU guy and coach. You know, and I don't know. I think, how do you feel when, you know, you got a rare thing. You were able to bounce around, build your resume, and boom, you was able to come back to your alma mater. But so many of us don't get that opportunity. And we get passed up by a guy because he coached the PWI running backs. All of a sudden now he could be a head coach at one of our schools or vice versa. What's your thought on that? I know you've been sitting back and looking at it. You know, what's your thought on that as well?
I think for guys that came up in HBCU and these coaching ranks, I'm a guy that always coached at the HBCU level. And, I feel like, for about 5 or 6 years now, I've been prepared to be a head coach. It's frustrating. I'm going to just be honest with you guys. It's frustrating when you pay your dues, you come up through the ranks, you buy your time, and then, just because a guy comes from this conference, it makes you less of a coach. That's what it feels like to us, a lot of times. But you put us in these same rooms with these other coaches and we have some of these same opportunities. You can see we can coach football as well, but it's frustrating because, everybody want that splash hire. He came from this place right here that makes him this great coach, whatever. But there's some great coaches that came up through the HBCU ranks that just get looked over at times because, everybody wants to go out and get that outside hire because of where he come from, that FBS school, that group of 5 school. So for guys like us, like you talk about, we were just talking about Byron Brown, they coach at Lane. He's a really good head coach. He's a good head coach that deserves an opportunity somewhere. But, people look over those guys like that because of where they came from or where they come up through the ranks. But I honestly can say on that, it is very frustrating for guys that come up through the HBCU ranks.
Yeah. That's I just want to make sure that we touch on that.
Well, Coach, let me ask you a question. You being a coach, what other coaches, as you look through the MEAC, the SWAC, the CIAA, that you say, what, I kind of like the way that guy coaches. Who do you kind of look at? Because I've heard other coaches say, what, we've had other coaches say, hey, man, I really like that. So who you as a coach that you look at, say, man, I'm really impressed how he runs his program and things like that?
My guy, I love Chennis Berry, the new coach at South Carolina State, his energy. I just, that's my guy, the energy. I know he's going to do well over there in the MEAC, and he deserved that opportunity. Another guy we're talking about, though, came up through the ranks, bought his time, went over to Benedict, was successful there. So I'm excited about Chennis and the things that he brings to the table, the staff that he put together over there. He's going to do a great job in that MEAC. So he definitely be the guy that, that I keep a close eye on. And we talk all the time, too, but I love everything that he's bringing to the game in HBCU football.
Now, Coach, is that something that wait, hold on, Rocket, because he said, so is that something that we could see maybe a home and home between Jackson State and South Carolina State? Since you kind of put that out there, that's something that you might be interested in doing? Or that an AD question?
That worked out. Okay. You heard what I said? We might get that worked out.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Well, one last question, Coach. How much do you have control of your schedule? Or y'all kind of do it together, you and the athletic director?
Yeah, before he makes any of those decisions, he always picks up the phone. When we have our meetings, we talk about the scheduling of games. That's the beautiful part about having him as an athletic director. He's open with me, straight up front, and but all that kind of stuff is discussed. We meet 2-3 times a week. We talk about certain things, whether we're on the phone or whatever. But all of those type of things that affects the football program, we have great open discussions about.
Tell my frat brother I said hello. That's my.
All right, I'll make sure I do that.
Thank you, Coach, man. Man, you've been great, man. And we want you not to necessarily say be a regular, but put us on your schedule, Coach. So we won't have to run you down, man. We sent planes and mail and everything to get to. Man, we gotta have you, Coach. Y'all the creme of the SWAC, man. We don't want to be starting with some other schools. We want to start with Jackson State, man, getting it up. But hey, good luck this year.
I appreciate that.
We're gonna be cheering for you, man. Except for one game against Texas Southern, I gotta cheer for my school. But again, thank you, Coach, and we look forward to you guys, and we'll see in December who will it be.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. You're doing a great job. Us Jackson folks, we're proud of you, man. We're proud of you.
All right, Coach. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you. Being quite gracious with your time, and I appreciate you coming on the show as well.
Appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me, man. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. This is huge for HBCUs, man. A lot of love for you guys.
Thank you. Oh, Coach.
Thanks,
go ahead. We good.
Hold on. We can bring him back. We double pump, Coach.
Oh no, Coach. I was letting you know, man. I'm now an analyst for HBCU Go TV. So I got 5 HBCU games, and I'm starting off on the rookie level at the CIAA and the SIAC. But I got 1 SWAC game, but I will let you know because this is the next step. And it was something that I think, and I talked with the CEO, of course, Charlie Neal, that we need to have more guys that have came through the SWAC analyzing our games, calling play-by-play or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to be a trailblazer of it and let you know, man, keep that in your back pocket. We need great guys like you to stay in the conference and continue to make our conference great.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Coach, man. Charlie's a good friend of mine as well, though. Keep doing what you're doing, Coach.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
All right. Hey, that was another amazing interview from Jackson State. Oh, hey, you almost had your blue hat on today, Steve. I've never seen you like that before, man.
No, man, listen. This ain't no secret, man. Let me tell you something, man. And I say this with a lot of love. Jackson State means so much to the city of Jackson. And Jackson State, and I tell people, so my grandfather's from Wiggins, Mississippi, family of 13. His mom and daddy sent him up that highway and said, listen, we don't know about this other stuff. We know if you get an education, you can come back and help your brothers and sisters. And from 1938 all the way to now, we got somebody on the back that's a Breland. Jackson State has changed my family's life. So I've always loved Jackson State. I've always loved what Jackson State meant. So I'm always going to support it. And to my Jackson folks, I try to do my best to limit these Deion Sanders questions from that joker right down there low. So I think I did a good job. He got like 8 in. I tried to limit it, y'all, because I know we didn't want to hear that.
I didn't say prime or Deion.
But man, listen, you went around so many different ways to get them prime questions in, but that's okay. That's okay. But I tried my best to keep him to talk about. Hey,
did I do okay, Coach? Did I do okay?
No, you did. No, you see, Coach, you did it right. Rocket went into fanboy, and like I said, and he had to talk about, how did Prime help y'all out? Y'all poor little folk down there in Jackson, y'all didn't have nothing until Prime got there, and how much? Man, listen, Jackson State was Jackson State full Prime. Okay,
watch the interview. I was very complimentary of everybody related to that situation, especially the AD and the administration. Now,
listen, you still had to put the prime in there. GC, I was the prime maker, like they been. All my Jackson folks in the chat, tell me if I'm lying. Tell me if I'm lying. Did he not have to put that in there? Or do y'all appreciate what Prime did for y'all poor folk down there in Jackson? Man, listen. Prime, listen, I'm gonna say this, and hey, listen, and I know Deion say this. Prime need to be. Hold on, let me say this one thing. Prime need to be thinking Jackson, because if it wasn't for Jackson, he wouldn't got that $5 million from Colorado. So what he should be doing, he should be opening up a scholarship, sending $1 million every year down at Jackson. That's what he need to do. And thank Talladega, because them Jackson State folks hooked him up with a degree down there. Them white folks at Florida State ain't never give him no degree. Now, how about that? That's free. I ain't gonna charge y'all for that. Come on, man. We don't play that over in Jackson, man. Down there, that prime man. Listen, 1400 Live Street was there before that man got there. All right.
For sure, Coach. For sure.
Hey, man.
Hey, he brought his crowd and matched up with their crowd, and it was just a great thing. But see, here's the thing. To the point, my point of it is, they both needed each other. You see what I'm saying? Jackson State was at a point that Jackson State had bottomed out. They needed a fresh start. And I will be honest with you.
Say that again for the people in the back.
No, they did no, but nobody denies that. No. But hold on. But it took a person from Jackson to see the vision, because I'm gonna say this again. Deion was right down in Texas. None of the Texas schools hired him. None of the Florida schools hired him. Nobody from Arkansas hired him. It took somebody from Mississippi to see the vision. So then what Prime did was what Prime did. He brought all his talent and his charisma to Jackson, and it was a perfect fit. Deion is country. Jackson, that's what Jackson is. So that swagger that Deion had, if you know anybody from Jackson, but that's Jackson all day, baby. That's we all swag. You go to Jackson. Jackson is not the country, but it's in a country state. So he brought that. So when I saw that, it didn't shock me the way Jackson people were acting because that's where we grew up acting, man. That's how we act. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So my thing is just pump the brakes when you have a great, because it worked out. You could put 50,000 people in that stadium, right? You had the tradition of the 4 Hall of Famers. You had the sonic boom of the South. So you had that, and then you just added water to Dion, and then you had something special. What I'm disappointed at, and I understand Dion had his own mission, they could have did something. Dion could have did something extraordinary in Jackson State if he had stayed in Jackson State, because he was getting white. When anytime Nick Saban started mentioning your name, white folks was getting shook. White folks was getting shook. So that's what I love. So that's my whole thing. But I never wanted, because we got a lot of the primates, and they all gone over there to Colorado, which they need to be. But it disturbed me to act like that Jackson State only started playing football them 2 years that Prime was there. And as somebody that grew up in Jackson, that knew that WC Gordon had 16 NFL picks in 5 years with first rounders, bro, that's hard to match. That's real football there, bro. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, look,
We're not doing 3
let's
hours.
let's get the calls going.
No. We're not doing 3 hours a night, Steve.
Well, we ain't doing no calls, man.
Hey,
we got what?
y'all got 5 minutes to get y'all calls on. We'll hang on 5 minutes so y'all can get your call. Currently, I don't have any calls. The call lines
okay.
are clear.
Okay.
But Steve, while we waiting on callers, what the hell is going on down in FAMU?
Oh, okay, all right. Let's get into it. So this is what I tried to explain to people. We had people doing shows, FAMU's in shambles. We done lost to everybody in administration. And see, this is what I try to tell people. Slow down until you know the facts. We had a transition. We had a new president. There were only 4 people replaced. The AD was one of them. Now, I'm going to specifically talk about the AD because that's the people that everybody knows. Here's the thing. FAMU people had no problem that she was a woman. FAMU had no problem with her making a decision. But this is to all my young folks, and Coach Cole's going to understand this. When you don't have experience, you need to go to people that have experience to navigate new waters that you've never been in. And what she failed to do, and this was her failure, was not to build consensus and not to talk to the stakeholders. If I come somewhere new, all my old heads always told me, when you walk into a new building, shut your mouth and find out who's running the joint. And then go meet them. And that's the thing that she did not do. So when you started making decisions, I'm going to use the Coach Gibbs thing. Coach Gibbs is a great coach. But when you don't go, listen to who she talked to. She talked to the president and she talked to the board of trustees. Neither one of them cut checks to FAMU football. Why didn't you talk to the people at the Rattler F Club? Why didn't you talk to the 220 Club? Why didn't you talk to the Rattler Booster Club and make them feel good and say, listen, I got a guy out here that I think will do a great job. And let them meet him and not meet him through social media. Let them meet the person. So that was the first failure. Then she goes and does the exact same thing with the basketball coach. The exact same thing. So when you are learning on the job and you are doing it in a very public manner, you got to understand something. When they asked her about fundraising and she said, we are at a $400,000 deficit, and her answer is, I'm going to sell raffle tickets. That is not the way to instill confidence. So this is why I tell people it had nothing to do with a woman, because like everybody that seen my tweets and stuff, like Angela Suggs would be a great candidate. But I think what happened was she did not have a mentor to mentor her through. She should have called Ashley Robinson and say, hey, I'm down here with these jokers at FAMU. They're snapping at me. And let Ashley say, this is what you need to do. Coach, so that's why I think she failed.
But then for 1 second,
go ahead.
Then she must have been a home girl hookup.
Well, this is the thing, Coach.
You can't take her on a blue blood program like that as an AD, and you come in there with no experience. I mean, what you always say, Rocky, a resume at HBCU don't mean nothing. Because I mean, come on, man. She had to be a home girl hookup or something.
Well, that was the whole thing. And this is and again, I want all my HBCU. She's an HBCU person. I root for everybody at HBCU. So I wanted her to succeed. But here was the thing, and this is what happens when information gets out. The list of people, they had 12 candidates, right, Coach? She was number 11.
Hey, caller,
she did not even make it to the second interview. which made no sense.
I'm bring you on
Right.
this.
And then Dr. Robinson out. Now we have a selection committee. He went outside the selection committee and selected her. He already set her up for failure. Because if I'm number 11 out of, because I'm gonna ask anybody that is, most of my people, I see my little brother Cedric Walker out there. He's a manager. We got people that's managers. And Coach, you've done this. If you got 12 candidates, have you ever hired the 11th candidate out of the 12?
No, man. No.
That usually does not dictate success.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. If you're going to do that, then you incubate her and say, hey, listen, this is what you're getting into. And I think some of the things, because some of these things, as they say, as we like to use a FAMU, self-inflicted. She talked about the coach, the basketball coach. She didn't know, well, she couldn't hire the basketball coach at a certain time until the fiscal year rolled over, right? That's not a FAMU thing. That's not alumni being mad. That's you not knowing the policies and procedures. You got to know that as an AD.
Right.
So then when you put yourself out there, the people that really don't like you, you give them more venom. I'll use a rather thing, more venom to strike at you. See, that's one thing about me. Ain't nobody ever gonna catch me slipping, brother. Never.
Now, Coach, it's been a year, right? It's been a real year. Florida A&M has had a heck of a year. They got a $230 million situation.
Fake nation.
Came across.
A false nation.
This coaching situation lasted too long.
Yep.
President now being let go, now AD, and it's just been like every 3 months.
Yep.
Florida A&M was better than this coach. That's why I'm so, every time I pick up the phone, Coach AD fired, Coach ain't been hard, President this, don't look good, Coach.
Well, here's the thing.
What you say?
And this is what I think FAMU people and the leadership has learned. Sometimes that's called hubris, right? You're around too many people that agree with you. Your best friend is the one that tell you when you're wrong. That's really your best friend. They can say, hey, see, you're not doing right. And with the 237 thing, I mean, let's be honest. That was such a critical error. But this is what happens sometimes, and this is what happens when you're flying high. Because, and this is no secret, because this came out in the 237 report and things like that. FAMU is moving at, you understand something, FAMU is in the top 100 of colleges. There are only 4 SEC schools that are ahead of us, okay? So when you start getting that level of arrogance and stuff like that, you start thinking that you're invincible. And that's not how that works. Every day, you got to dot your I's across your T's. And this was a situation because I think Spelman had gotten this, or Morehouse had gotten this crazy amount of money, and FAMU said, we want to beat that. You shouldn't be competing against people because we're not in a competition. What you should be doing is the best interest of FAMU. The best interest of FAMU is slow down, check this man out, because I'm going to tell you this, and I'll tell you this, I've told the story a billion times. I get the phone call, they said we get 237 million. I'm naming all the, the Bill Gates, this person, that person, and they're like, no, it's some black guy. Oh, there ain't no some black guy. What black guy? It ain't no such thing as some black guy 237 million. That's either John Smith or, Jay-Z or, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody like that. You're going to know that name. Yeah, you're going to know that name. So then I do a simple, in America, right? I do a simple Google search that day of the graduation. And because I made the post, we got the 237. I was driving. I pulled over into the Google search. I saw the guy's website. Now you can go to my website. There ain't no misspelling, not nothing. You ain't gonna never catch me. You will think we make $1 million every day because I got it looking like that. When I saw a Gmail address and misspelled, I said, man, that man ain't got that money. That man, because let me tell you, the people that are tight don't misspell words. I'm telling you this from a business standpoint. You see somebody that misspell words, they're sloppy with their business. So I knew right then and there that he did not have that.
Hey, let's take these couple callers. Hey, callers, when we bring you on, we're going to give you 1 minute to express yourself. And then we're going to move on. Go ahead.
The other thing, what about they got to subscribe and we done?
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's slow down for a minute. And I need, if you're watching on Scottish channel, only thing I need you to do is hit that link, go like, and subscribe. I know y'all chatting like crazy, all you Jackson State fans or whatever, and some of y'all don't want to give Scotty a view or whatever. If y'all find yourself in that situation, there is an alternative, right? You can share the love. You can go to my channel and go ahead and like and subscribe, and you won't ever miss an episode of HBCU Coach's Corner. So the next person, the next caller on the line, it is 8945. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner. What do you got for Coach Cole? What's going on, brother?
What's going on, everybody? This is Doc Holiday, y'all.
What's going on, Doc?
Ain't nothing at work, slaving around here. No, but on the family thing, though, the only thing I can say is, hey, if it was misinformation put out there, I apologize. But at the same time, better go on your boy Vaughn Wilson, because he's the one who put it out there.
Well, well, Doc, here's what I'm gonna say to that. I'm not gonna. To your point, you're right, and that was wrong. And I said as such. And this goes back because that caused a firestorm that had everybody doing. And like I said, I don't blame anybody. But what I will say to this, and this goes to all y'all, my nieces and nephews. But we gotta. I'm asking. I always say this. We got to do a self check. That go to FAMU people and everybody. Man, we all in this thing together. We can joke and talk about football, but when and everybody's talking about pothole state, everybody, I don't like that, or Laxon State, or anything like that, you're disrespecting my family. If you're talking about FAMU is worthless, their education is worthless, I'm glad this happened there. That's not what HBCUs were built on. HBCUs were built to educate the slave, to give them education, because white schools did not allow that. All of them, not some of them, all of them. So if one of us hurts, we should be trying to uplift, not tear down. So I don't mind anybody doing a show about the issues at FAMU. You should do a show. You should talk about it. But when people take joy in that, then I'm never going to support that because I don't come from that. Because I had kids, my children all went to HBCUs. Everybody in my family went to HBCUs. So I don't ever talk down to HBCU. I don't say that somebody is not something. That ain't how I roll. So if other people roll with that, that's you. But see me, that's why I can go any place, anytime. That's why I've sponsored all these people, and people still call me because I respect every HBCU. Because we're all together.
Hey, Doc, we're going to go to the next caller, man. Thank you for calling in, my brother.
Good, bro. I'm going to listen on.
Caller with the last 4, 6660. You're live on HBCU Coach's Corner.
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Rocky, I don't think you're going to like this one today, sir.
Go right ahead, man.
I wanted to say, Mr. Campbell, thank you for speaking up because, Rocky, I'm going to suspend your passes to our PV games.
Please don't, man. Please don't.
But, no. Yours is suspended. But, Coach, I got a question for you. I called y'all on, I think it was yesterday, in reference to the Clark coach. I'm going to try to get with Ralph Cooper, coach, and see if he can connect us because I got the trucking company's information so we can pass it on to the coach at Clark.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you get his email? Did you get his email address?
Yeah, we can. I'm gonna go back tonight and try to go back and see if I can cap it.
Yeah. It's on there.
Yeah, I did touch bases with the young lady, and she said that she and some other Clark alumni would be willing to help out.
That is awesome.
Okay.
That's awesome, my brother. Hey, and make sure at homecoming, at homecoming at PV, make sure you let me know where your tailgate is, because I want some brisket, some ribs, some sausage, and some potato salad, man.
Near me, but I want to pose one quick question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
Lord say the same in the future for y'all. Is it possible that we could or is it possible for you? Can we post what are the like the preview Grambling game or the big games so people will know what's coming up in the future?
Absolutely. We usually go through the big games for each week when there are games being played. We highlight the big games, and then we recap our predictions for those games. So that's what we do each and every week. So
and that second point was, can we also maybe get the coach to kind of say, if people want to come on and give money to their school, their athletic fund, you know, something like that, so we can try to like help, you know, those individual schools. Those are just some suggestions.
That's a great. Those are great ideas. And I tell you what, I'll send that information when I send the email, the invites next time. Is make sure you have your booster club or your whatever your organization is that you want our followers to donate. Make sure that the coach has that ready for us.
I was just thinking that every school could probably help out their own. Every alumni could help out their own school. So.
I love that. I love that.
But don't come to Pee Wee though, so we're gonna boycott you.
All right, then.
Have a good one.
All right, then. Last call, man. Last call.
Thank you.
Last call. 5540. You're live on HBCU Coach Corner.
Hello, this is Chuck Hunt calling from Monroe, Louisiana.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
let's go, Chuck.
Yeah. How are you all doing this evening? You did a great show and great interview that you all have done. I was just calling you. Some of you were talking about Brother Campbell. You were talking about Jackson State. A guy from my hometown played at Jackson State back in the early mid '80s. Linebacker played at the same high school as NFL trailblazer James Shack Harris at Carroll High School, historically black school here in Monroe. A guy named Jackie Walker. I know you remember him, linebacker, 6'5". He and I talk daily. On the phone.
Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor? Please tell Jackie Walker that Johnny Cole said hello. Me and Jackie was on the swag tour together. And Jackie knows me very well.
Yeah, and I speak daily. Okay, I will. I'm surprised he didn't call me this evening. Yeah.
And could you send him could you send him the link of the show next time?
Yeah, tell him we want to have Jackie on. Jackie, real quick about Jackie. Jackie Walker was in that Lawrence Taylor mold. That 6'3" and above 250 linebacker. And Jackie went to Tampa Bay. And just really, man, just was the standard. Just like I say, and then this goes from Jackie Walker to Darren Connor. And that's what I'm saying about the greatest of what Jack State had falls on the defense and stuff like that. I'm talking about pro size. Jackie Walker was the epitome of pro size. Absolutely.
I played against all them cats, man. Jackie,
he didn't even play football until his senior year of high school at Carroll High. That's the only time he played. And
he was a basketball player, wasn't he?
Rest of history. Yeah, he played basketball at Jackson State. Paul Covington played on WC Gordon football and Paul Covington in basketball at Jackson State. Yeah, he was a two-sport athlete in there. He didn't even play. Played only football at Carroll. He only played that senior season, and then he played. And I think Coach Covington saw him play an intramural ball, and after he was coming to the basketball team, the rest of history. Yeah,
we played against each other in basketball and football during them years. Yeah, Jackie's good. Good guy.
Coach Cole, I'm gonna get don't get offended by this. Were you on that team at Texas Southern when I was at the game '83 when y'all came to play Grambling when the guy came off the sideline and tackled the Grambling player, made one wolf during that time?
Yeah, yep. I was on that football team. His name was Bruce Green.
Yeah,
from Tampa Bay. Yeah, they were stumping a hole in us, and we shanked the punt. And he come running down the sideline by himself, and one of our players just ran off, man, and TKO'd him, Coach.
Yeah, Warner Wolf had it on that Monday morning.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, you know Greg Coleman? Do you know Greg Coleman?
From FAMU?
Steve.
Who's that?
Yeah.
No, I've never met Mr. Coleman. Every time he's been to FAM, I've never been down to Tallahassee.
Okay. He's on my team. He's on my production team with HBCU Gold.
Wow.
Hey, caller, thank you for calling in.
All right, you all have a nice
I got
evening.
one more call. I got to take this call.
Yeah, man, you right here cutting the call. I'm about to get you. I mean, we have to cut these interviews because these people want to call in and talk. Y'all ready to go to bed, man. We got to cut these interviews shorter.
We might have to start earlier, guys, when the season starts, but we'll talk about that in production meeting. Go ahead, call it. You're live on the air.
Yes, sir. My name is Rashad Miller. I'm from Waco, Texas. I'm Roxanne. I want to let y'all know that y'all doing a wonderful job with the Coach's Corner. I've been tuned in lately, and I think it's gonna catch fire, and I think a lot of people are gonna watch it, and it's gonna be a good thing.
Hey,
Coach Campbell, Coach Rocky.
Hey man, hey son, thank you for calling in, man. Thank you for watching and
So
supporting.
wait, hold on before your son go. Hey man, look, I need you to do a favor. I've been trying to protect your daddy from these HBCU folks. Now I'm gonna need you to sit your daddy down and tell him to put down his primate crown. Okay, can you do that for me to protect your daddy and tell him to put the prime crown down? Now since he's doing this show, that prime is in Colorado, and it's called HBCU Coaches Corner.
I got a ride with him, Coach.
You got that's a good son. That's a good son. Ride or die with your daddy.
Hey,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Shawn, man, I appreciate you calling in, man. I love you, boy, and I'll holler at you.
Hey, love you too.
All right, bye.
Love y'all.
Yeah, that's my youngest baby boy. That's my youngest boy right there, man. And he I can turn that down. Hey, that's Mr. Campbell theme music right there. But no, man, I really had this been an amazing show, man. And the way it finished was great as well with my son calling in, man. It's always good for your kids to be interested in what you're doing, and he thinks this is a great idea, and he's been watching us for probably the last couple months, man. And I certainly appreciate it. That's what makes me know when we got something. When we got the ear of the young people, Mr. Campbell, then we got something.
Well, man, listen, I know you're a great father, you know, and Coach Cole, same with you. Coach looked like he might have froze up.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
hey, man,
I'm here, though.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say this, man. As somebody from Jackson, I appreciate you having Coach T.C. Taylor on, and I'm excited because, like I said, I'm a big fan of T.C. I'm a big fan of this show, and I hope people understand that we're always going to be respectful to everybody that comes on this show. We're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to let everybody can have their fun and do it, but our lane is to bring the coaches on and get the information that people want to hear, and then let the people ask the great questions, great football questions about their teams, about the players and things like that. So that's what you're going to get at HBCU Coaches Corner with Johnny Cole. It's a little bit more mature over here, and that's okay. What everybody else does, that's for them. But for us and for all those people that enjoy that, please tell people, like and subscribe and share.
Hey, and I want to say this, guys. Scott is my guy, or he's our guy, and so y'all can feel however y'all want to feel about Scotty, but Scott is our guy, and we support Scotty. We just do it a little different over here. That's all.
That's it.
So no Scotty slander over here, baby. Go ahead. Hey, Mr. Campbell. Excuse me, Coach Cole. You want to take us out of here, man?
Can you hear me? Because all we need.
I hear you just fine. Your audio is phenomenal.
Well, good, man. Look, again, hats off to both of you guys. We got one more week before we start getting this thing and getting on the road. Next week, we're going to the SWAC and MEAC Challenge. We have got our media passes. We also got the Florida A&M Sweet Box that we'll be working from. So we're excited about that. And, again, it's election year. We got to be able to vote for a president. Don't get it twisted. This thing is not over. Of course, I love Kamala Harris, but if you don't, you still got to vote for who you believe in. It's real important of what's going on in the world today. But again, don't let the world get too hard on shoulders. It's God's choice and it's God's challenge to keep on pushing. He gives you 3 scores, right? 3 scores in a decade. So without further ado, if you feel the world is coming down on you, man, tie a knot at the end of your rope because ain't nobody bad like you.